Gentlemen and ladies from all around the world, we love that you guys are here for this year's biggest Fact Map experience. Over 500 of you participating with us virtually. Here in studio with us in HQ and Dana Point are all of our teams from Wake Up Warrior and DKW. Well, at least the ones who live here stateside. The rest are participating with us virtually. So we have a hybrid experiencing happening over the next couple of days with you at home, with us virtually, as well as those here in studio. I'm going to be pulling on both of you. There's going to be times I'm going to be requiring you to share and communicate in front of the entire group from the virtual audience, and there'll be times here with our group inside of the studio we're going to be having conversation with you, some of our new sales teams, and, well, my right-hand man, Mr. Jeff McGregor, might get up and talk to us a little bit today about what magic you got for us today, Jeff? Exactly. No magic. That's why I'm in charge up front. Jeff handles the backside, but we'll get some magic from Jeff somehow. Today, we're going to be having a journey. Tomorrow, we're going to be having another journey that is absolutely affected by how you choose to show up today. No matter how you look at this, if you show up today weak, tomorrow will be weak. If you show up today weak, Friday will be weak. Some of you are sitting at time zones, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. I appreciate it. Take some caffeine, slap yourself in the face, kick yourself in the dick, get yourself pumped up and ready to go. What you are doing over the next couple of days is going to set and dictate the trajectory of 2023. This right here is what I created at the end of 2021. This was a visual map of my world and where I wanted to go this year, right? This year, the year that I'm in right now, this is where I wanted to be. This was a map across body, being, balance, and business of what I envisioned as possible for my life. From where I was at spiritually for myself, to where I was at in business, to where I was at with my family, to where I was at with money and my ultimate future and my body. Everything about this game I created last year came true this year. The only thing it didn't was a jet. So instead of a jet, I got an Aventador. But kind of like a jet, just doesn't fly. Just flies fast on the ground. This piece itself and this projection is what we're here to create. Everything we're doing today and everything we're doing tomorrow and everything we're doing on Friday is about creating that opportunity. It's about you being able to see a bigger version of you. All of you are here for different reasons. All of you are here for different seasons. Some of you have done this before. Some of you have not done this before. Give me a show of hands on this one inside the chat. If you've done a fact map before and completed this entire process with me before, from foundational fact map to freedom fact map, if you've done that part of the game, type in hell yes into the chat if that is you. And you can also do this up on the main screen. Will you put it up, Cameron? Just put me up so I can see myself. Just switch it up on our side because they won't see any different. There we go. Just keep it there. That way I get clear on what they're seeing. It's a little bit different here than it is in the studio. All right, so we got our hell yeses coming into the chat. Beautiful. So we don't have any rookies. We're going to be working through this in a couple different ways. Our focus is going to be following a specific frame. That frame itself only works if you are willing to live by the code. Only way it works. Jason, what is the code?
Tell the fucking truth.
Tell the fucking truth. Another version of it is, Jonathan, what's another version of it?
Be real.
Be real. Tim, what's another version of it?
Get raw.
Get raw. Rhett, what's another version of it?
Relevant.
Relevant. So the code itself is the foundational piece that makes this entire conversation work. If you lie to yourself today, you will create fantasy tomorrow. If you live in fiction today, you'll create fantasy tomorrow, which means you'll create targets that are bullshit. You will create things that you say you want and that you're going to pursue next year that will not happen. You think they're going to happen, but you think they're going to happen just like everything else you thought was going to happen when you project from fiction. So there's a foundation that we're trying to eradicate today, which is we're looking to get rid of a foundation of fiction. Because that foundation of fiction will create a future of fantasy. How many of you inside the virtual team, how many of you in the chat know exactly what I'm talking about? Type in I get it into the chat. Type in I get it in the chat so I know that you're getting it. This is how I lived most of my life. Up until about the last 8, 9 years, and real effectively in the last 4 or 5 years, I could not see the connection between lying to myself about where I was and the pursuit of what I ultimately wanted. There was a complete disconnect for me between these two, which is here's where I'm at, truth, and here's where I now want to go, truth. When I could eliminate the fiction, fantasy also disappeared. And what replaced fiction were the facts. My facts became the foundation. The facts became the place that I was going to work from and operate from. My facts ultimately projected into a new level of freedom. Freedom became our game. Freedom became real. Everything that we're about inside of this process and fact map is about pursuing a higher level of freedom. How do I get more free? It's why you came to Warrior in the very first place. You came here looking for freedom. You didn't come here looking for more facts. You came here looking for more freedom. You didn't come here looking for yet another place and another program to be involved in which you do nothing different next year than you do right now this year. How many of you in the room right now know that most people over the next couple of weeks will set targets for 2023 that are complete bullshit? Raise your hand. This is a fact. It happens all the time. By the way, just so my DKW girls are, when I go like this, guess what you do? You raise your hand too. Right, let's practice one more time. How many of you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. I can't have my internal audience fucking this up for me. Got 500 people online. They're all like going, right, why are they not raising their hands right now? I was like, well, because they're slow on the draw. The hair is real heavy this morning. So our game of pursuing this then for all of us is the following, which is how do I get to a place of the facts and actually set something new as a target for my future? And then how do I set something that actually matters to me? How do I create targets for me in 2023 that actually stick? That gap between my facts of where I am and the freedom that I'm pursuing, we've got to create that gap. And that's what we're going to do today and tomorrow. So all of today is a function here on day number 1. Our entire focus here today is to accomplish and establish the facts. That's it. We're not trying to create the possibility of where you want to go. We're not trying to create some new window of opportunity. We're not trying to envision what you think could be. We're not. Today, we have one focus, which is we're going to dive deep into the truth and the reality of where you are today. Where are you at? Most programs you've ever been part of in the past, here's what they do. They brush over for 10 minutes on where you are, and then they spend the next 3 days talking about all these cool things you're going to do. The challenge with this is that everything you say you're going to do is bullshit. You won't do it. You won't do it. So we're going to spend equal amounts of time setting us up here in this following place, which is saying, here's where I am, and now knowing where I am, here is what I can now see as possible in the next level of freedom for me. Day 3 will be followed after day 2, and day 2 we will unlock the new level of freedom that you can see available to you now that you've established the facts. Now, for all of you at home and your at-home audience and all of us in person, you're all going to be teaching this exact framework here in a minute. So if you're not taking notes on it, I would suggest you do that because you're going to be in breakout groups teaching everybody in your group how this framework works out and what we're doing for the next couple of days, because if you can't teach it, you can't do it. These frameworks matter because they give your brain capacity to see things from a certain angle, and that capacity will allow you to create. Without the capacity, there is no creation. We've got to get both. So we're going to slow it down here this morning and make sure that everybody understands what we're trying to accomplish so that we've actually got a shot to be able to do that, and that's going to require you to teach. So day number 1 is going to be all about facts, where I'm at, and what's the truth. Day number 2 is going to be all about the impossible freedom. What is the place that I am pursuing? What is the place that I am hunting down? And every single one of us, we are a version today that existed last year and the year before. There's some great shit that you're doing today. There are things that you do this year that you should be really proud of. How many of you in the chat right now know that there are some things that you can be proud of from this year based on the work you did this year? Type in me in the chat if you know that's you. Type in me in the chat so that we can see who you are. So it's not just a game then of coming in and saying, wow, I really fucked things up. That was a shitty year. Just really excited to be here, coach. Nope. Some of you did some great things. You did some amazing things. You've been a warrior for a while. You really worked hard. I'm proud. It's the most successful year I've had in my entire life this year. Like across the board, all of my life, from my body to my being, to my balance, to my business, I had arguably the most significant 12-month run that I've had in 46 years. everything I had been working on has been clicking. Everything has been coming together. Does that mean the year was always peaceful? Hell no. Does it mean that I was not involved in wars? Of course not. Does that mean that I woke up every day super pumped up? Hell no. Does that mean that I pushed forward into a vision for myself that I could see last year and I won? Yes. Now, there's a statement we use around this idea of freedom, and it's a simple statement called impossible games. We ultimately wrote a book on it called Winning the Impossible Game. This was the frame, and this has evolved over time for us, which is an understanding of what this actually means to have an impossible game available to me. But I used to look at it from a different place, which is like, okay, there's impossibility in what my body could become. There's impossibility in what my being and my spiritual relationship with God could become. There's impossibility in what my balance with my wife and my children could become. There's impossibility in what my business and my money could become. Well, those are all seen as individual. But what we've come to find over the years, in the last 10 years, that it's not impossible to pursue any one of these things. There are things you could set as a target physically for yourself that if all you focused on was your body, you could pull it off. If you woke up every day and all you worried about was that aspect of your body, you could pull it off. There's areas inside of being in your relationship with God or belief in yourself. If you just spent the whole year focused on uncovering you and going on spiritual journeys and 10-day meditation retreats, and you just focused on that piece, you'd find yourself deeply spiritually connected at the end of the year. If you just worked on your relationship and all you did was walk around and hold hands with your girlfriend every single day and just speak kind nothings into her ear, and then you guys just had lots of dialogue, guess what? You'd have the greatest relationship on the planet. If you just focus on money and just making money, that's all you give a fuck about. Fuck everything else. I'm just going to make money. This shit's all I'm going to do. And you just focused on making money, you could do that. So none of these categories are impossible. Human beings have proven forever that when we get centrally focused on one thing, we can do it. Now, getting you focused on that one thing is a problem. So most people still don't even pull that off. So we're talking about entering a game then that is radically different, and it's what warrior's been all about, which was posed off of one simple question. Could you have it all? Was it even possible? This entire fact map process was born off of this one simple question I had in 2010. Into 2011, the birth of Natural Bead arose at the time with my wife and DKW Styling Academy. Long before big money stylists, long before any of that existed, there was a woman who had a vision for hair. At the same time was a husband who'd lost everything in banking and insurance, who was a cheater, who had addictions, who had all kinds of problems, who couldn't fucking find himself. And there we were in the pit trying to figure our shit out. Who are we? Where are we going? What do we stand for? What do I actually want? Where am I going? And this whole thing, as I sat there in that time, came with a simple question. Is it even possible that a man could have it all? Could I have a marriage that was on fire? Could I have a deep relationship with my kids? The time my son, who's sitting here in this room, wasn't even part of my life. I wasn't part of his life. We'd spend a good decade just pretending like I didn't even have a son. Him hoping that I'd fucking die, if he even cared that much. And I deserved it. My life was not working. We had 2 other daughters. Danielle and I were completely disconnected. Our sex life was garbage. Our communication life was garbage. We just had this loathing for one another that we couldn't really understand. Because at the end of the day, we both hated ourselves. We didn't know who we were. We didn't know what we wanted. My money had disappeared. I didn't have any clear path for what I was going to do economically. My businesses had disappeared, just as going to happen to tens of thousands of men and women right now in the real estate space, and mortgages and real estate. They're going to fall apart because the game itself is flipped on its head with rising interest rates, plummeting stock market, crazy real estate values, and all of this shit getting scattered. Men are given an opportunity and women to choose something different. And in that place was a question. And I'm going to ask you the same question today. But I'm going to ask it under a different way. I'm going to ask you, do you have the faith? Do you have the faith to have it all? Do you have the faith to have it all? Because it's one thing to ask the question. It's another thing to say, well, do I even have the faith to pursue it? Weston, what does this mean to you? Here you go.
What this means to me is like, well, you can have a lot of things come into you, but if you can't have the faith to take advantage of that opportunity, and then even to receive it, like the opportunity can be before you, but do you have the faith in yourself, in God, that you can then take this and move forward with it? Because if not, you will not be able to take advantage of it.
At some level, I have to lean in, believe.
Mm-hmm.
Like all of you that are here virtually with us, this is the case that you have been pursuing. You came here to Warrior to pursue this idea that I asked myself back in 2010. Here we are, 2022, moving into 2023, and I fucking proved it's possible. And thousands of men have come after me, have proved it's possible. And hundreds of women have proved it's possible, that you can have it all. Having it all as an idea is one thing, but having it all as a reality is another. So we start then with this simple idea of impossibility, because what seemed to be impossible to me was having this all at the same time. I knew guys that were fit, nothing else was working for them. I knew guys that had money, nothing else was working for them. I knew guys who were fit and had money, and their relationships were chaos. I knew guys that had great relationships, but they were falling apart physically and financially. I knew guys who were spiritually on fire, but they had no money. Just always seemed that I met people who had pieces of the equation, but I didn't know anybody at the time who had it all. Not one person. Didn't know one person who was pursuing this life. It didn't seem. I searched for it on the internet, couldn't find it, looked it up, couldn't find it. No one was offering anything. The closest to it was some men's group at church, which was kind of plasticky, sanitized bullshit. And I was like, I can't fucking find anything there. All people tell me to do is read some more scriptures, pray, and believe. And I'm like, I hear you, and that's not real practical. Well, you should pray. Okay, now what? Read some scripture. And now what? And then believe. Believe in what, motherfucker? What am I supposed to do? Just come to church and pay your tithing. Go fuck yourself. I was done. I was done with the plastic answers. I was done with the plastic bullshit. I was like, I will pursue a path to getting this. So to be able to pull this off requires you to even conceive that it's possible that you could have it all. And that the version of you that's having it all, here's the fun part, that version of you currently looks at the current version of you with disgust. Disgust. It's weird to think. There's a version of you that looks at your current habits and patterns and is disgusted by what it sees. A version of you looks at what you tolerate currently in your body and goes, what the fuck's wrong with you? There's a version of you that looks at you and the way you deal with money and goes, are you kidding me right now? There's a version of you that watch how you show up in your current relationship and is disgusted by the fact that you even would choose to show up the way you're showing up in a relationship. Danielle and I look at our marriage today and I can't even understand it. It's like, it's impossible. Like the biggest thing I'm trying to deal with in my life right now is being okay with the idea that my whole fucking life works. There's a piece of me that's very uncomfortable with this. Marriage on fire, body's on fire, kids are on fire, business on fire. I got all the cars I want, got the friends I want, got family I want, I got it all, and it leaves me in this weird place. I'm like, I should break something. Because I'm uncomfortable with how fucking great this feels and I'm uncomfortable with how amazing this is because I've been way more comfortable with living in a shit show for a life my whole life than I have in having it all work. It doesn't feel normal for me to wake up and have everything working. How many here in the room get what I'm talking about? Raise your hand. So we get used to this. We get used to this. If you get what I'm talking about in the chat, type in hell yes in the chat so I know you get what I'm talking about. You just get used to the fact that you live a life that is subpar. You start tolerating things in your life. You tolerate things in your marriage. You tolerate things in your money. You tolerate things in your relationship with yourself and God because it's what you've known. So I'm going to have you consider something. Follow me. You were born into this world into scarcity. We're all born into it. It's not the nature of who we are, but it's what we were born into. Right? What is scarcity?
Lack, limitation.
Lack, limitation. Tim, what else is it?
Hopelessness.
Hopelessness. Tanner, what else is it?
Thinking there's not enough.
Thinking there's not enough. Type it in the chat. What is scarcity? Let's go. I'll read it. Arle is like the obstacle, the opposite of expansion. Bryce, pits, fearful, weakness, insecurity, alone, dependency, the lack of, feeling small, the pit, being content, always defensive, a shitty state of mind. This was not what the game was built to be. I'm going to have you consider something. God placed you here in this game in abundance. The original game was built in abundance. There was no fear. There was no lack. There was no limitation. There was just abundance. And in that place, man was given a specific instruction. I want you to multiply, replenish the earth. I want you to create. I give you dominion over the earth. And in that place, I give you instructions, which is bear fruit, multiply, and replenish the earth in abundance. Side note, don't do this shit over here, because if you do, you're going to insert a new piece of the game, will make it more complicated. If you want to do it, that's great. But if you do it, it's going to make it more complicated. You're going to insert scarcity into the game. If you insert scarcity into the game, then you're going to have to overcome scarcity to get back to the starting line of what the purpose of this life is. So, abundance is what most people believe is the purpose of life. The purpose of my life is to leave scarcity and find abundance. I don't have enough, now I have enough. I don't have enough, and now I have enough. Here's the challenge. How many have been in a place where you have not had enough, then you got enough, and then the thing that was enough is now no longer enough? Raise your hand. It's the weirdest shit ever. You can be like, I need more money. Then you get more money. And when you get more money, all of a sudden you're like, wow, that's not enough, and now you need more money on top of the current money, or I want different money. You're like, I just need a relationship. Then you get a relationship, and then that relationship becomes irritating. You're like, well, I need a less irritating relationship, and then you look for something else. There's this constant pull in us to progress. But there's a constant pull that's pulling us back from abundance into scarcity. This is happening all the time. All the time. Every ounce of every day pulling you back. My marriage is great. My marriage is dog shit. My fitness is great. Oh my God, I'm fat as fuck. This was my wife at a fitness competition last week. It was like 3 days before, and she's like, oh my God, I don't know if I can even do this competition. I'm like, why? She's like, I had a cracker yesterday. I think I'm fat. I'm like, woman, you're like 105 pounds. It's like, it's all in your head. She's like, no. I don't know if we should do this. Maybe I shouldn't do this. I'm like, okay, number one, you're ready. Number two, you can do this. Number three, it's all in your head. So a lot of what we are challenged with is right here. Now, 24 hours later, she got up there almost damn near 99% naked on a stage and posed and modeled and did her thing after a mother of 4 children. I was proud as hell of her and clapping my ass off. Just, that's my girl. That's my girl. That's mine. Yep, my queen. Fucking smashing it. She makes some posts about it on social media, loses like 400 followers in like one day. She's like, what's wrong with all these girls? I said, these bitches are okay with a mediocre life. Fuck those bitches. That's it. Don't apologize for living an extraordinary life. Don't apologize to women who don't lose weight after their babies. That's their fault, not yours. You don't play down to a society that says it's okay to be mediocre. In our world, we don't play down to guys who are okay with dad bods. We're like, it's not okay. You need to be progressing. Do you need to have a six-pack? No, but you got to be progressing. Your body needs to progress, and that happens a lot of different ways, which is progression and freedom can come through how your body physically looks, how your body feels. Some of you were injured. Your bodies don't work right. You can't even do normal functional shit because your body's not working right, or you have addictions that are consuming you. You have a world that keeps compelling you back into scarcity. So maybe the only objective of freedom is to not be held bound to that, have an injury that's not an injury anymore. But in order to get there, we have to recognize that this is the balance that we're playing in, this constant toggle between abundance and scarcity. Abundance and scarcity, abundance and scarcity. I have enough, I don't have enough. I have enough, I don't have enough. And a lot of this is being dictated by society. Social media is telling you what is enough. Here's what you need to have. That's why we have teenagers and 20-somethings more confused than they've ever been in their entire lives. We've never had a generation of more confused people. Because every time they wake up and they turn their phone on, there's something better, more, bigger, faster, richer, blah, 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 blah. I've got all this comparison. It was real easy when I grew up. They didn't have shit. She's like, who's the hottest girl you know? Well, there's like only like 3 of them in the whole school. Do you know any girls from another school? Don't even fucking know the name of another school. The girls over there, we can't even talk to those girls. It's like a fucking war zone. We had to fight all the guys over there for those girls. Now it's like, slide in the DM and I'm in America and can't even fucking call them. The fuck is wrong with you? Can't even call somebody. Literally, I'm sitting with just call them. Are you fucking crazy? What do you mean? Just like call them. Wait. My God, that's so aggressive. I was like, holy shit. Like I had to walk up and knock on doors and hope that dad didn't answer the house. I was terrified because men back in the day whoop your ass. Like, not my dad, but other people's dads. My dad didn't whoop anybody's ass, but nonetheless, I love my father. Like there was a piece inside of this that was different. So we find ourselves in all kinds of weird places about what we think we should want because of what society tells us we should want. How much money is enough? How much money do you need? What is fit? What is a lot of sex? What is great sex? I got people who say this is a lot of money, and I got other people who look at that same amount of money and are like, I don't know how you survive. I don't know how you even do it. And yet these people feel completely abundant, and these people look at that idea and are like in complete scarcity. I got individuals who are like, man, I feel on fire physically. And you're looking at me like, really? They're like, yeah, fucking on fire. Like, why? Because it progressed in the way. They feel great. So it's not even about what it looks like. It's about how you feel and what it looks like. People that sit in marriages, I look at their relationships. I'm like, I don't know how you do that. Couldn't do it. People look at my marriage and I'm like, oh, I don't know how you do it. It's not what I want. Cool. You don't have to want what I want. I wanted what I wanted. You get to want what you want. Your version of abundance and your version of scarcity are your version, not my version. If you get what I'm talking about, type it in the chat, I get it. Type in the chat, I get it if you get what I'm talking about. Type it in, type it in, type it in, type it in, type it in. So everything we are pursuing in this entire journey is about getting real with you. Real with you. Where are you really at today? And where are you at in scarcity? We're going to call in our maps today this idea of scarcity, we're going to call it bondage. Where am I currently experiencing levels of bondage in my life? You're going to be working through that today. And you're going to get honest with yourself about what that looks like. Here's where I'm currently in bondage in my body. Here's where I'm currently in bondage in my being. Here's where I'm currently in bondage in my balance. Here's where I'm currently in bondage in my business. Here's where I'm in bondage. This is where I don't feel good. If I'm honest with myself, I feel like I'm in scarcity in this area. On the flip side, we're going to look at freedom. We're going to say, well, here's where I feel free. Here's where I have abundance in my world when I look at it. I feel a sense of freedom. That freedom is not dictated by what other people's opinions are. There are plenty of people that tell me what their freedom is, and it's bondage to me. Like, that's not free. I got friends of mine who have open relationships, and they sleep with different women. They're like, I'm free. I was like, that's not freedom to me. I'm not interested in multiple vaginas. One. That's it. One vagina, my wife, that's it. She's my girl, that's it. Ride or die, my person, that's all I want. I don't want anybody else. So the idea of them being, that's not freedom, that's bondage to me. Bondage to me is choosing all these other women at the same time. That's not freedom to me. That's freedom to my friend. I'm like, cool, go for it, bro. That's not me. So I don't get to dictate what freedom is to you, which is good. Why is this good? Tanner, why is this a good thing? That I don't get to tell you what your freedom looks like.
Because we're connected to the source and we all have our own mission here as to what that looks like.
Beautiful. There's some individuals, their entire calling in life is to pack it up, get a small condo, move to the middle of the desert, and fucking walk and talk in the desert with the scorpions. That's it. And that's great. It's not what I'm going to do. But I'm happy for them that that's what they're pursuing. Good for you. That's great. And that might mean that the current bondage is the businesses that they're running. And they're going to have to liquidate and sell everything and go pursue this other thing. Because what everyone else around calls freedom to them is actually what to them? Bondage. And that's where it gets tricky, because people look at your world and say, oh, you're free. Hercules, 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 and telling you you're amazing. But you don't feel amazing. She's like, well, I appreciate you saying all these things, but I don't feel free. I don't feel free. One of the areas I don't feel free in my life right now, flat out unbalanced, is I don't feel free with my daughters. I want to be more involved in my children's lives. Like I'm working too much, I've been traveling too much, etc. So although I have all these other freedoms that we've created this year inside of balance, there's also some bondage that showed up, which has dictated a lot of my direction. I'll be sharing a lot of that with you today and tomorrow as I use my maps as an example so that you can see what it can look like, not what it's supposed to look like, what it can look like as you work through yours. So our pursuit inside of the impossible game is this battle between scarcity and abundance and this idea of freedom and bondage. Now, we're going to stop with where we're at right now. We've talked about facts. We've talked about freedom. We've talked about scarcity. We've talked about bondage. It's now time for you to have a conversation about it. So online, we're going to go into a 10-minute share. During the 10 minutes, we're going to go into 4 people or 5 people per group. You're going to talk through what this framework is. What are we getting ourselves into today? Where are we heading with this idea of freedom and facts? What is this idea of bondage and this idea of freedom linked up to abundance and scarcity? How does this play out with why we're even here and what we're doing? So if you're clear about what we're going to talk about online, go ahead and type in clear into the chat so I know that you're clear. Give me clear up in that chat so I know that you're clear. And again, this is an opportunity for you. There are some of you who are going to be tempted. Turn your cameras off, be like, oh, I'm going to handle some shit. Don't do that to yourself. If you become a camera turn off guy this entire couple of days, we will find out who you are. We will just exit you from this experience. The nice thing about being where I am in business and life is I don't need you here. Period. The end. Don't need your money. Don't need your attitude. If you don't want to play, get the fuck out. You want to play? Be here. But you don't want to be here? That's the cool part. There's 8 billion people on the planet. Why would you spend 3 days with somebody who just irritates the fuck out of you? Don't do it. You don't have to. If I irritate you too much, if I push too hard, you don't like my language, I got something for you. Go fuck yourself. And go find somewhere else where you can be happy. But if you're going to be here, be here. Be here, not for me. Be here for you. Be here for your marriage. Be here for your children. Be here for your body, your future, your money, your life. Because guess what? I'm going to go to bed 3 days from now. Well, hopefully tonight too. Go to sleep tonight and the next night and the next night. I'll go into this weekend. I'll have a party with all these people here in this room with me that work for our companies, that are part of our family and our team. And I'll go into this weekend. I'm not going to be thinking about you at all. At all. I'll wrap up meetings next week with huge commitments I have in the business. On the 23rd, I will unplug. I will disappear to Park City with my family. I will say not a fucking thing for 10 days to anybody but my kids and my family and hang out and relax and lay in the snow. Might even be naked. I don't know. I just lay naked in the snow. Face down, back. I don't know which side's going to be up, but I'll just lay down in the snow naked. I'm just going to do nothing. Just fucking lay there naked. People are like, what's wrong with you? I was like, I'm just laying here naked, relaxing in the snow in Park City. And guess what? I won't give a shit about your life. Isn't that wild? Friday, one of my close friends, they're not even going to bury him. They're cremating him. He died last week. I was with his 4 sons yesterday morning. 2 hours. I saw him just a couple weeks ago, right before Thanksgiving. I flew up to see him. Spent 5 hours with him and his sons and his wife. 48 years old. You think that you have forever, but you don't. So, as you step into this today, and as we go into our first share, play as if this is your last share. Tard, most people won't change shit until the doctor says you're going to die. Most people don't change shit until the universe and life kicks them so hard in the face that they're compelled to change or die. If you can choose to change while still being alive, well, you can choose to change before you die. If you can choose to connect to God and find a purpose and a passion, a calling inside of your world, what we're doing and how you're living, that's beyond anything I say. And I die today, and you get to keep living your life your way, you win. You're not playing for me. You're playing for you. If you get what I'm talking about in the chat, type in I get it. Type in I get it in the chat. If you get what I'm talking about here in the room, give the person next to you a high five. Give them a high five. Turn around and give the other person a high five. High fives all around the room.
Good job.
All right, here we go. So in my room, you guys are getting groups of 4. Online, you guys got 10 minutes. 10 minutes on these breakouts. We're discussing where are you at, what are you learning so far. here in the first 30 minutes we're together on this 30-hour journey. My friends in the shares, here we go. In 3, in 2, in 1, off we go. Okay. I'm not sure what happened here. Did you do that, Cam? I'm not sure how you got control of my screen right now.
Push cancel on the right.
Okay, there we go. Perfect. All right, so you got a chance to have a conversation about it. Talk a little bit about it. So let's come along. Let's call a couple people up. Let's bring in Dan Steeman and Dan Pribble. We're bringing the two Dans. Let's go ahead and highlight the two Dans and bring it there. Add a little spotlight there. And we got a little Dan. Add a little spotlight there. Okay, cool. Let's pull you guys up. All right, Dan Steeman, what are you seeing from this?
So I look at it like this. The whole process, starting in the front, is kind of like a big chemistry experiment. And I told everybody I want to take some truth serum today, because if I'm not willing to sit down and just talk about the truth across the core 4 domains, then the whole entire process is going to be tainted. I'm going to begin meandering and wandering around and find myself in a web of deceit and lies. So today's about just getting real and honest and direct with myself about what I truly want. And what I loved that you said earlier, there's just no way I want your life, and I'm okay with it. There are pieces of it that inspire me, Garrett, but a lot of it, I'm like, you overwhelm the shit out of me. So I'm okay with a peaceful life.
I get it. I overwhelm the shit out of a lot of people. I get it. I overwhelm the shit out of myself half the time. So this piece in pursuing what is free to you is beautiful. What's free to me is beautiful. If I settle for what you call freedom, I'm fucked. If you settle for what I call freedom, you're fucked. This is a pursuit of what is freedom to Dan. And today is about you getting honest about where you're not free. And getting honest in some of the hardest places, which is being honest about where you're currently free, but you want to experience more freedom. Sometimes this isn't just from a place of like things are shitty. It's a place of pursuing something even bigger, better, greater, or deeper, or richer than what we currently experience. Right? What is that beyond the case? In my case with Danielle, I'm not pursuing more sex. That was a pursuit forever. Now that we have sex as like a conversation, it's very normal and natural for both of us. There's now this new thing that's opened up. There's like this soul level savage consumption of each other's souls. It's like not even sex anymore. It's something beyond sex. That pursuit, that's freedom. So now just like penis and vagina, that's not freedom to me. Although at a period of time, that was deep freedom to me. I was like, man, I just would like to have my penis and my wife's vagina more often. Like, I'd like that to be the case. Please, can we just make that? If that could happen more frequently, more often, I'd feel more free. But then once that started occurring, there was another level of freedom that opens up. So when I hear guys say, well, man, if I just have sex once a week, I'd be free. I was like, yeah, but what kind of sex are you having? Like, is this like vaginal masturbation? Are you just like having a quickie? Like, what is this? Are you connected? Is this primal? Like, where are you at on this? And so there's a different level of pursuit that opens up even for me. Well, so now my pursuit in 2023 is a different one. I want to devour my wife's soul. One of the ways, not the only way, to that is really deep, primal, connected sex. Leads to a consumption of my wife's soul. That's freedom to me. So now I like, not only sex is amazing, but it's not the thing I'm after. The freedom I'm after is this soul level game that opened up this year with my wife and I that we've never experienced. You getting what I'm talking about?
That example you just gave is exactly my pursuit. Sex is one of the areas that overwhelms me. My wife has got this second wind right now, and she doesn't understand as a woman gets older, it does take longer to bring her to orgasm. And so we spend so much time at it. So I told her, I said, I'm going to do the very best I can to keep up with you in that area, but you got to come my way with the connection part, because she hasn't bridged the gap between sex and connection. It's just like all pleasure to her. So we're making this deal in 2023. I'm going to do my best to keep up with her, but she has to come my way and connect at a soul level.
That's right, my friend. Hands, tongue, they both come in play. Lasts a lot
like
longer in your dick, too. Yeah, buddy. All right, now, this same pursuit. DKW, welcome to our world, by the way. Get used to it. It's how it's going to be for 3 fucking days. You're going to know more about men than you've ever known in your entire life. You're going to be like, oh, shit, that's how they really feel. Yeah, you're going to see it by the hundreds. We'll talk this way. So this connection piece, knowing also, I want you to look at Dan's example. Some of you are listening to Dan, and you're like, Dan, go fuck yourself. You're like, are you really trying to tell me you're trying to keep up? If I get my wife to even be excited beyond cold ass ice fish out of the freezer, like this would be exciting. You're telling me I have a hard time keeping up. So they hear, and I know I've been aware a long time. We hear guys be like, oh, my wife just wants too much sex. And then 90% of the room says, fucking kill him right now. That guy needs to shut the fuck up. He's in the wrong. Get the fuck out of here. Don't trust that guy for nothing. And guess what? Until you're there, you don't know. And then when you're there, which I get it, now you're like, dude, I want something more than just this. It's like, I really wanted this forever, but now that I got this, I'd like this other thing, and I'm just trying to keep up. I mean, it's kind of not fair, dude. Penis is not built to do shit that a vagina can do. Vagina just go forever. Like, you got to be really focused. You got to be focused to keep it going. I get you. I feel you. How many get what I'm talking about? Raise your hand. Ladies, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Stop fucking around. You have the advantage from start. You can fake it. You can... We're like, we believe the whole shit. You sell us down the river with all your bullshit lies. And we like it, so keep lying to us when you need to. All right, Dan, my other Dan. Thank you, Dan Seaman. My other Dan, what are you seeing from all this? Muted on your side, brother.
Cool, thanks. The host wouldn't let me in. To piggyback on what Dan says, I think it's about just being honest with yourself and being honest with where you are now. Just because I thought that, I wanted one thing last year, and then once I got it, it's like, nah, that's not really what I wanted. And maybe that was because I wasn't honest with myself when I first set my goals. And so it's just about having the faith to be honest with yourself enough to be, to recognize that I am living in scarcity in some spots and saying, okay, because I am in that spot there in scarcity, I need to actually say where I really, really am so that I can go to where I want to be, if that makes sense.
You got it. So this pursuit is a pursuit based on what we talked about before, which is being able to pursue what you really want. For most of us, we've been trained to not say what we really want, and so we end up setting targets that we ultimately get that don't satisfy or fulfill because it wasn't what we really wanted, because we weren't honest about where we were. Being honest about where we are gives us the ability to envision where we really want to go next. Our lies will have us pursue things that don't satisfy and won't fulfill. Our truth gives us a better path or a better opportunity to pursue the thing that we actually want. So if we can open this up today and get deeply honest in a way that's going to be exposing to you, if you're honest with the people in your breakouts and you're honest with yourself and you're honest with God, it's the wildest piece that would seem that we could be honest would be some revolutionary topic. It's wild. I want you to look at this. The entire foundation of Wake Up Warrior is founded on one idea. Stop fucking lying. And everyone's like, oh my God, it's like incredible. This Wake Up Warrior thing is amazing. Tell me more. How do you do that? It's true. Most social media is bullshit. Most people lie on the internet. Most people are liars. Most human beings lie most of the time. Very few are the people who will actually be honest about all of what their life is. The peak, the pit, the path, the pain, the pleasure. They want to talk about pleasure, or they want to look for, help in their status of pain. But most people will not give you the full Rolodex of emotions. And most of us will not be that honest with ourselves. How many of you at home in the home audience, how many of you have been in a place where you have been in a stack and you have been wanting to type in some truth, but even trying to type in the truth to yourself has been difficult, like your fingers turned into concrete. You want to type some shit out about what you're really feeling, but you have a hard time doing that and typing it out. How many of you at home have had this experience? Type in me in the chat if that's you. Type in me in the chat. It's wild. Like even getting to a place when you're alone and admitting it. Admitting I'm not happy. Admitting I don't have what I want. Admitting I want more, or I want things differently, or I deserve more, or just being honest. Yet the crazy part is we think that we're going to get some amazing outcome by lying to ourselves and lying to the people we're in relationship with. The greatest change for me and my wife is my wife started telling me what she wanted. I was like, I'm not going to guess anymore your bullshit. So tell me what you want. That's it. Pretty simple. What do you want? Exactly the fucking problem. You don't know what you want, so go fuck yourself. I'm not going to play this circus animal game with you. I'm not going to dance and play the game. If you don't know what you want, I can't help you get what you want. My job as your husband is to be here to support you in getting what you want. But if you don't know what you want, that's not my problem. That's your problem. But you don't get to hold me hostage with the fact that you're unclear as fuck about what you want, where you want to go. That's your issue, not mine. I'm not taking your shit on anymore. Get fucking clear about what you want. When you know, come and tell me. Here's what I want. So I have you consider that the person who is the most clear about what they want And the person who owns with depth what they truly want, that person owns and controls the frame of relationship. Anytime you're in a relationship with somebody who doesn't know what they want, you can clearly see very quickly when you are clear about what you want. This is why most people live other people's agendas, because they're unwilling to do the work required to get clear about what they want and where they are. Here's where I am. Here's what I want. Can't expect people to read your mind. Doesn't work. Doesn't work. One of the things we do inside of Warrior is we share our stacks. We've gone at a deeper level with this. We're playing at a higher level. Our teams are sharing stacks. It's very vulnerable because you're like sharing vulnerable truth about what's going on for you in a vulnerable way. You're still working through it. And now you just put it out there for other people to see. And now they get to have an opinion. Well, what's the alternative? Keep it all where? Locked in your head, pretending like you're not irritated, pretending like you're not frustrated, which never leads to anything working anyways. I want you to look how much you've been trained to lie, hide, and tuck away. From the time you were little, you were taught to lie, hide, and tuck away. That who you are, what you want, what you desire doesn't matter. That I need to figure out what it is with you so I can kind of pretend. And then the worst part is, this is when you can pull it off in the beginning with a relationship, but what happens over time? It sours. Because now you're like, well, listen, I've run out of energy to pretend like I give a fuck anymore, because I don't. So now even the things that I really wanted with you, I don't want anymore because they don't outweigh all the bullshit I'm having to deal with. And the reason I can see all this bullshit is because I can finally see all this bullshit in myself. And there's this weird formula between dealing with your own bullshit and all of a sudden you can see everybody else's bullshit. But when you're a liar, you consume other people's lies because it's part of the game. If you lie to me and I lie to you, then we can call ourselves friends. And until I say something you don't like, and then at that point, then you'll just try to cancel me. Now I'm a bad person. Now I got to make a decision. Do I box up my truth to try to please you? Or do I be all of me? My wife's a crazy bitch. I love her. She's fucking crazy. She got obsession about shit that makes no sense. She buys too much shit. She does all kinds of stuff. I'm like, I don't even get it. And she's my crazy woman. I can handle her, all of her. She can sit in the kitchen, yell and scream all she wants. Veins popping out on her neck. She can throw shit at me, whatever. Guess what? That's my crazy. I can do it. I sit with her and say, be as crazy as you want to be. I got to handle all of you. There's not one ounce of you I cannot handle. You're a psychotic, crazy bitch, and you are a brilliant, powerful woman, and I love all of it. And you are my person. Let's go. What do you got? Give it to me. Give it all to me. And I'm not going anywhere, and I'm not running away, and I'm not backing down. So bring your heat, woman. Show me where you're at. And when she does, she trusts. Most of you in relationships that are complete and utter bullshit. You can't be honest. You can't be all of you. So you're having to filter, paste, package, and position yourself in a relationship with somebody who supposedly is supposed to be your one and only forever. You're like, dude, really? The worst part is you do this with yourself. Because you walk around all day long pretending like you are happy. Pretending like you're happy. You know when the most depression happens every single year for men? Right now. That's why the time we triple down on our marketing, because most guys right now have to confront the reality that their life is garbage. They don't like where they are. They're not in a happy relationship. Marriage is not what they wanted. The life's not what they wanted. The family's not what they wanted. The life is not what they wanted to create. They ended up in this back-end situation and they don't know how to get out. They're depressed. Well, yeah, depression happens to people who hate their lives. And my experience is people hate their lives who lie to themselves about what is about their life. You can't change it until you be honest about it. I'm going to get what I'm talking about. Girls, this is your chance. You see that? You see that? Yep. Let's go. Armpits, all of you. Armpits. This little thing, that doesn't work. Armpits, let's go. All of you. Armpits, armpits. Look at that. You see that? Look around. Keep your arms up. Everybody look around. Look around. Look around. Look at everybody's armpits. Look around. See everybody's armpits. This is what it looks like. That's called participation. Let's try the other hand. Other hand up. Here we fuck. This is just me indoctrinating DKW. They're not used to this. They're used to the, Jeff McGregor squash games you guys play. That shit's gone for fucking ever. Welcome to the new caliber of game. Welcome back to Warrior, ladies. All right, hands down. So we're going to play today from an all-in attitude, which means when you share, you can share half-truths. You can hold back, or you can share all in. And the first sharing that has to happen all in is with yourself. here's where I'm really at. So let's look at the frame of how this is going to work out. We are not going to be using the fact map tools the way that the fact map tools have gone. Uh-oh, I'm frozen. Frozen, there we go, okay. We're not going to use fact maps the way that we use fact map tools in the past. So the current fact map tools that are going on inside the software are fantastic, but we're not going to use those. We're going to be using a new templated strategy inside of the notes section of your Warrior app. So if you do not have your Warrior app opened up, go ahead and open up your Warrior app so they know that you got it open. And once you do online have your Warrior app open, go ahead and type in open into the chat so I know that you got it open. Everybody in the room, get your apps open up also. Go to your notes section inside of the app. If you are not sure how to get there, somebody in the room can support you in getting there. Once you have them all pulled up inside the room, raise your hand so I know that you have your app open. Raise it open, raise it up, raise it up, raise it up, raise it up. Look at all those armpits. Weston's looking around, make sure we got all armpits in the air. He's the armpit inspector. Okay, beautiful. Hands down. So before we get into what it is, we're going to look at this game. You're going to start off with each category with the conversation of freedom. The note that you're going to be answering question is going to give you an opportunity to answer some questions specifically around what you perceive as levels of freedom in each one of your domains. We're going to start with the topic of body today. Why? Because body is the easiest one to start with. It gets you warmed up, lets you start having dialogue with yourself about what's going on with your body. It's yours. No one else can tell you what to do with it. It's your body. You get to be with your body how you want to be with your body. But we're going to be honest, and there are some ways that your body's working. How do we know? You're not dead. My body's not working. You're not dead. So something's fucking working. You woke up today. You went to bed last night. You took a piss and a shit this morning. You ate some food and your body's doing shit with it. You didn't even know. You're going to shit it out later. Guess what? Your body's working at some level. There are some levels of freedom in how your body's operating. So you're going to discover those first. And you're going to be honest about those first. Here's some things that are working. Here's some levels of freedom that I see. When we do these and we answer these, we're going to answer them in one of two ways. One, you can do them as kind of bullet pointed ideas, which are just kind of Cliff Notes ideas. The second option is to take it and just write sentences and paragraphs and just type it out freestyle. So I can either go text style, idea, 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 or I can go paragraph style and I can type out a whole bunch of ideas at once, right? Doesn't matter either way, but we're getting our own answers out. You're going to notice in the questions here with the notes, they're going to be less restrictive, which means they're going to be less specific. They're going to be more open-ended, which means the questions are allowing you an opportunity to explore the answers to these questions without me telling you exactly what you should be thinking about. This is an exercise in your own discipline and your own creativity and your own willingness to go deep into the question. So this is our first piece, which is going to be freedom. Once we get through freedom, we're going to do a roll down, or what I call cascading. You'll identify the item of freedom that you have seen, and then we will be linking that freedom up to the other three categories. So if I was starting here with body freedom, the note will then take you further and ask you to show the correlation between your body freedom and being, your body freedom and balance, your body freedom and business. Meaning, when you look at this freedom that you see here in this area, how is this freedom you've seen in body, how is it relating to your being and your spiritual life? What's the connection? So I see this freedom in my body. Here's how I see it connecting to helping me be free in being. I see this freedom in body, and here's how I see it helping me be free in balance. I see this freedom in body, and here's where I'm feeling this connection inside of business. I'll give you a simple example on this. So one of the areas I feel free is with alcohol. Alcohol is not like my thing anymore. Used to be my thing. I used to drink 3 IPAs every night. Liked it. Just liked it. I was 12 pounds heavier pretty much from drinking beer. Just what I did. Every night came home, drank 3 IPAs. It was like drinking on 3 IPAs. Worked for me for a while, then it stopped working for me. Last year I set a target. Said I'm going to be done with alcohol. I'm going to drink a 6x1, which means I'll drink it once time a week if I want it, but the rest of the time I'm not going to drink alcohol. So I went down this path and I realized the impact it would have. Where I feel free is I have 0 cravings for alcohol, which I didn't think was possible last year at this time. I was like, how's that even possible? It's not that I won't drink it, it's just that I don't care. I'm kind of like, if I have it, great. If I don't have it, great. Not really interested. Don't even finish half the beer. I start with my wife. My wife loves tequila. Tequila's her thing. I don't have a problem with my wife loving tequila. It's fantastic. But for me, alcohol. So alcohol, one of the ways I feel free is that I have no compulsion or pull to alcohol right now. This is where I deeply feel free, which for me, for a long time, was something that pulled me heavily. I also feel free in caffeine. I used to feel pulled with caffeine constantly too. We couldn't keep 5-hour energies in stock in the fridge. I'd drink 27 a day. So just doing the fucking math, I was like, 35 hours energy. I got 8 hours, I gotta go. 35 sounds good, let's go. Boom, shotgun. Like now they just sit in the fridge and there's tons of them. And everyone's like, well, I guess he's not drinking it anymore. I feel free in that. I'm drinking less caffeine than I ever drank before. I drink a little pre-workout in the morning with my wife that she like really likes. And I started drinking that too with the water in the morning. And that's it. I feel free there. Feel free in that area to me. Because I don't need it all day long. I'm not like, oh God, I need some caffeine. Like it's just not the deal. Now, we'll talk later about some other things I've replaced it with. I got new addictions. That's all right. I've just changed them. But what I feel is definitely free right here. This right here has me free. I am more spiritually connected this year than I've ever been. This liberation from alcohol with my body and also a walk-around six-pack, which was my target. I want to be in a walk-around six-pack. I want to be able to walk around, be like, I don't give a shit. 46 years old, walk around six-pack. Go fuck yourself. Like, this is what I wanted. I didn't know what this was like. I never had this experience. I wanted to be in a situation where I'm having sex and my wife's like, oh my God, you're so lean right now. And I'm like, the fuck I am. Let's go. Keep going. Tell me more. Call my daddy. Let's do this. This I wanted. There was an impact. I saw it. I felt it. I experienced it, right? So my body had a direct impact on my balance, my sex life, my certainty, my confidence. My body change also had an impact on business. We're sitting at WorkCon 4 and I have everybody ripping their shirts off. We're sitting there just a bunch of shirtless dudes, hundreds of dudes in the audience and 1,000 plus online. All you guys were part of this. We're having this experience. There was a connection of power to me in business. I became more of an example of what I was wanting to be as an example in business or in body. It helped me. I had more energy, more certainty. There was just an ability to do things longer without the sense of fatigue that I was experiencing before. So there was this massive change from something fairly small, which is don't drink alcohol as much anymore. And because I don't drink alcohol, I saw all of these cascading benefits. All right, if you're getting where I'm going with this right now, raise your hand. If you're getting where I'm going with this on the online at-home audience, type in I see it, type in I see it, type in I see it. So a lot of what you guys are going to be reviewing then today are going to be the results of what you did this whole year for those who were playing the Warriors way in 2022, the work that you did. Because my results of freedom today are the direct results of targets that I set last year. I wasn't trying to slow roll in on like a 90-day challenge. I was like, over the next 12 months, I'm going to rewrite my life and I'm going to make some things true for me physically. Here's what physical truths are going to be. So I experienced some of those freedoms today. We're going to also dive into, and again, you're going to be teaching this here in a second, the conversation of bondage. So you're going to answer some questions in the conversation of body. You're going to say, all right, where am I at in the conversation of bondage? You can answer in one of the same ways. I can do bullet points, just like you did in freedom. You can write it out as paragraphs of thoughts, but you're going to be answering the same questions in the category of bondage, and you're going to also cascade those answers down here to being balanced in business, which means be a connection. We have to see a connection between all of these areas. The question is why? Rhett, why do we need to link up a connection between your body, freedom, and the other three, your body, bondage, and the other three? Why do you think?
Because they're just all intimately connected. It's like if you've got a bucket of water as the impossible game of life, having all areas dialed in, if there's one hole in that fucking bucket, you're fucked. And that's one life area.
Yep. All of it interconnected. All of it interconnected. So we think that there are some moves that we make in body that don't affect everything else, or we'll go the opposite direction. The way my body is doesn't affect anything. One of these we'll tell guys is interesting. Like we had a guy at WorkCon 4 this way. I had this conversation with a dude last week. He's like, well, my wife's not like, my wife's not into sex and she's not connected with me. I was like, would you fuck yourself? I was like, look at you. You're unfuckable. Do your hands even want to fuck you? Let's be honest. You're unfuckable. Look at you. You're walking around train wreck. You're a physical nightmare. Your wife's supposed to be turned on by that? Ask your left-handed to be even turned on by you right now. No, I'm not. Exactly. You can't even jerk yourself off. You're so turned off. What might happen if you just put your body back on fire? You think it might have an effect on your sex life? Oh, your wife's just supposed to fuck you all the time because you live? Look at you. You're unfuckable right now. Fix it. Not hearing that in your Bible study. Well, let's go to the book of Corinthians. Go fuck yourself. No, you need to fix your body. Should love your wife like a lot. No, your wife shouldn't just want you because you showed up. You look like shit. Fix it. Good news is, if you look like shit, you did that to yourself. And guess what? You can change it. Period. That's cool. That's good news. Because if anybody else did it to you, well, then it's their fault. You did it to yourself. Well, in the case that you're pregnant, well, in that case, yes, he did do that to you. Fuck him. No, that's the only situation you're going to get away with it is you get your wife pregnant, right? That was the case. So, but there's a piece in this that you get to see for you, which is you get to pursue what is freedom and bondage for you and draw the connection because everything connects. And as we go through today and tomorrow, you're going to start to see that everything starts to intertwine. This idea that your life is separate and operates in different channels by themselves, that somehow your job doesn't affect your marriage, that your marriage doesn't affect your spirituality, that your spirituality doesn't affect your business, that your business doesn't affect how your body is. I was in a group of guys yesterday, and I was speaking about this, said, looking around the room, and I was like, listen, man, it's very clear. And I was talking about the reality of having it all. I said, many of you have done very, very, very good in business. And I said, and look at your bodies. You proud of that? I was asking you, if you treat your business like you treat your body, you'd be broke. If you treat your marriage like you treat your body, you'd be broke and divorced. Like, that's it. So why don't we start seeing that there's a connection? The way you do something is the way you do everything. The new currency that we've been introducing here, Warrior, is the bulletproof nature of having it all, which is you might not be the greatest at any of it. But when you put it all together, you are walking around as an evidence of what elite looks like. And that is simply a game of progression from where you are now to the place that you choose to go. What is the place that you choose to go next? Okay, we're going to talk this up. We got 10 minutes on this. You're going to each teach this to the other people in your group. You got 4 or 5. You're going to teach this game. This is the first part of how every note's going to start. We're going to do today, which is a freedom component, a bondage component, and the cascading effects on what's happening in being, balance, and business. How do those interconnect? Why is that the interconnection? You're going to discuss it as a group. If you're clear here in the room, Weston, you're my armpit checker. Get ready. If you're clear here in the room, what we're going to do, raise your hand, show me some armpits. Show me 2 armpits. Wave your hands around like you just don't care. High five and high 10 your neighbor. Beautiful. If you're in my room, get into a group. If you are virtual with me, you guys are about to go on a breakout. We got 10 minutes on this. You're going to share it up and talk it up. All right. Make sure that you got it. If you're clear about where we're going to go, type in clear in the chat so I know you're clear. Give me some clears up in that chat. Give me some clears up in that chat. We are going into our group breakout share in 3, in 2, in 1. Off we go.
Hey guys, hey Kyle, how are you?
What's up, Jim? How you been, brother?
Hello, man. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing? How do you pronounce your name?
It has a thing. It's Jabo. My name is Jason Ambo, but that's what everybody calls me, and that's
okay.
I always forget that that's in Zoom, by the way. So
Superhero name.
yeah, either one is fine. It's my superpower's name. I turned into a pumpkin or something on someday. So
The Jabo is what you go by. Gotcha. Yeah, so we started this at WarriorCon, so WarriorCon 4. So I think it was interesting. I pulled mine back up the other day, and we didn't ever really complete the process there. So, but I'm looking back over some of the notes that I had jotted down, and I think just in the conversation today, like it's not deep enough. There's more that I need to, I think, go into, especially on limitations and things that I do struggle with, and then connecting those back to the other domains as well. So I'm almost like I'm looking at I have it pulled up on my other screen, and almost like to the point where I need to just delete it and just start anew, because I think just in after 4 days of WarriorCon 4 and the 2 months that have happened since, there's just a deeper level of connection that came out of that experience, and with that a deeper level of truth. So that's kind of where I'm at, is making sure that I fully go all in on today, so that it sets up what comes tomorrow and the day after.
I think that's a terrific insight, Jim. I've been in the game around War since 17. certified trainer and all that stuff. And the time that's allotted we have inside of like WarriorCon 4 to get that work done, it's not nearly sufficient for me anyway to get to have the insights I want to have. And also just the one-on-one time, right? With just me and me and or me and God, however you want to language that, working on that stuff is important. And things will be like Garrett just said some things that triggered me to have some thoughts that I hadn't considered inside body. My body game's in really good shape. And there's always some other opportunities in how is that manifesting in the other domains, right? So I'm with you there 100%. And of course, as usual, it's a little confused. Like, what are we doing? Is it freedom or facts or this or friend thing? And that's, after all these years, that's just the way that it is inside of Warrior. And I've just come to accept that that's the way that it is. So, just take steps forward. It'll work out. You'll figure it out here along the way. So.
Hello, man. This is interesting because I've been working on my body for at a high level for over a decade, and the struggle never ends. Just like any of these other pieces, it doesn't matter where you're at, because one, the body will fall apart if you stop putting the work in, and two, maintaining the same always sucks. So there's this striving for being better, when whatever that is, being more flexible, putting on more muscle, being leaner, being able to perform better physically, whether that's jump higher, run faster, whatever. And there's no limits to it. And then there's the nutrition side of it, which food has this massive grasp on us, enslaves us. And that battle never ends. And the more we beat that, the more that bleeds over into everything. And so, as I go forward with my nutrition, I'm finding myself even getting to the point where I'm eating a protein bar and I'm like, what the fuck is this thing? It's there's protein in it, but is this God's food for me? Is this what I need to be eating? So you have these different thoughts as you go forward and you're like, well, what if I just went all whole foods? And so there's always another level of your conscience pulling you to be better and to take it up a notch, And
I have a slogan I like, Kyle, that says there's no end game in the gym game. Because you're never finished, are you?
Yeah. And the fact that fitness is so how painful lifting weights is and actually making growth is so comparable to business, and having those conversations with your wife, those painful conversations, and being able to sit in suffering, Yeah. So
rip and grow, rip and grow, rip and grow.
Right. Well, it's just cool. It's cool to see it opening up to all aspects and hear it from another perspective,
Good stuff, man.
So, guys, I'm sorry. I had sales meetings all this morning. I wasn't expecting, but being self-employed, I got to jump on some of them. I just got in to this
build a team,
room.
Robert. It's time to build a team.
Yes, no, it is. Literally, this morning, I was meeting with an 18-year-old kid that I'm going to bring on over the summer as a junior advisor and start building that team out.
Cool.
My sales guy just started. My first sales guy started today, and I just got payment on my phone, and it was a rush, bro.
I'll bet.
I didn't make. Somebody else did it. I was like, oh my God.
That's beautiful. I'm looking forward to that. Probably a good 6 months out from that, but I'm setting the framework today. That was one of this morning's meetings. So are we talking about body?
Did you miss the discussion beforehand? Yeah. So Robert, mostly what we discussed, we're talking about is in your freedom map. You started with body. All right. How does that manifest in being balance of business? And then where is the bondage manifesting from body in those same areas, right? So there's always a component of each from every domain that bleeds into the others. And that's the exercise coming up. So what came up for you in that conversation was the discussion.
Gotcha. So I missed the conversation, but I did pick up the part I think you mentioned, J-Bo, on the language keeps shifting. So it's a freedom map now, and freedom and bondage. I'd say bondage. I'm always a little scared of what's under the hood, as far as blood work goes. I mean, my grandfather had his first heart attack at 32, his next one at 37. I'm built just like him. I'm 36, and like, okay, there's something of a time bomb there. So I can work out as much as I want, but I know if I'm not focusing on nutrition and actually moving past the fear to look into what I need to do, blood work wise, that's a huge force of bondage for me. Freedom wise, pretty easy for me to build strength and have endurance. And I always look kind of perma skinny and perma fit. That's just how I look. So that's a freedom. That's also a bondage because I skate by on that. I can eat whatever and I can work out and not work out, pretty much look the same. So that's almost like a false freedom. So
That's interesting you say that, Robert. I don't have the same issue where I get to do it like that, but most certainly, like what Darren said earlier, which triggered me to have this thought, was part of my bondage inside of bikes. I'm going, I don't have any bondage. I'm in fucking awesome shape. Feel great. Like, where's the bondage? Oh, I know where it is. It is that I'm a little bit too connected to how I look, which creates some bondage for me in that area, right?
Sure.
Because I'm not saying it's not a piece of it. Fuck, it matters for sure. I love that my wife thinks I'm fucking hot as hell. It's awesome. And it's still a trap for me, and it creates some level of bondage to me because I'm so conscious about how I look. So
sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
So it just becomes, if he didn't say that, it wouldn't trigger me to even think that. I went, oh, fuck. So that's why it's so interesting to engage with you guys, right? Because somebody will say something that triggers you to have oh shit, he just talked about me and I didn't think it was. but he's singing my song, right? So yeah.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. Mine's I'm because I know I just kind of can float on body. I'm disconnected from it in a certain way. And in a way that I know is not healthy.
There you go. Beautiful.
That and the fact that my freaking home workout gym is in my garage and it's supposed to be -1 degree tomorrow morning. I'm like, I can already pre-think of about 15 reasons why I'm not going to work out tomorrow.
Not to go. Well, listen, if y'all see me go sideways, there's third successive tornado warning in my area. So if you see me go that way in the air, it's because I just got struck. So it's really green and nasty outside. So.
All right, guys. Sorry, I came in late, a little unprepared, but we'll see you in there.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Look at that little fade in, looking all nice. We're gonna get this thing figured out. Great job, Cameron. Okay, so y'all got a chance to share. Let's get a couple of you from our virtual at-home audience, and let's get a couple shares from you guys. Let's bring up Sergio. Sergio's looking fit. He did some biceps this morning. Let's get Matthew Wilbur. That's right, flex it up, bro. And we got Matthew Wilbur. Let's bring Matthew up. Matthew Wilbur, let's put them both up on the screen. Let's have a little chit chat. So Sergio, what are you seeing from this so far? Obviously, you were WarriorCon, so you've kind of gone through this process before. But what are you getting this morning?
It's just amazing. Like I'm starting to understand that the relationships between all areas of my life, once I'm able to make those correlations, there's a lot of power in knowing that when I elevate one level, it's going to have that ripple effect. But that relationship is really important to create first. And then there's this aspect of just like, you said it earlier, like, don't play down to society, always play up. And it's like one of those things where it's like, damn, I'm a leader in a lot of areas of my life, but I haven't been able to even lead myself past this. And so like this idea of like, there are things that are working and I want them to continue to work, and then just being fucking real with myself about the shit that's not working so that I can continue to progress, I think is amazing. And it's just great to know that I am ahead of a lot of things in my life that I'm super stoked about, and they've had amazing impacts in other areas. But now I have the opportunity to create relationships, like really deep relationships, and being balanced in business. And that's pretty dope.
And this all grows inside your mind to see the correlations and the connections. If the brain doesn't see the connections, then it keeps operating in these isolated games. Like Warrior is meant to be this comprehensive system for living, but it takes us a long time to get these isolated lanes that we've been taught to live in and to see ourselves as this comprehensively abundant divine being that was born into this world to experience all of it at the same time. We weren't here to be off our rockers in 3 areas and dominating in 1. And without that mental connection, it's difficult. Well articulated, Sergio. Thank you very much for the share. Beautiful. All right, Matthew, what do you got for me, brother?
So to kind of piggyback off of that, the interconnectedness of everything, I was really good at like a fitness standpoint. I'd compete in bodybuilding. I'd have my impossible competition every single year, crush it. And body was always something that really worked well for me until I got married and had kids and had a business. Like I even started fucking struggling there. And I started to see it. And that's why I first got into Warrior. For me, it's just, I want everything to work together. I want like everything to support me in the ultimate life that I want to live. And I want to be powerful in each of those areas so that I can, like you said, I can be that man. It's like, man, like you were a freaking sad, sorry sack of a man.
And it's the reality of most men. I was sitting with these powerful women yesterday. These women all do 50 million a year or more in business. They're all divorced. They're all sitting on the couch with me and Jeff and a few other people at this event. And they're just like asking me questions, peppering me. What do you think about this? What do you think of this? What do you think of this? And I said, most men are weak. That's what I think. That's it. She's like, women are rising in power. Most men are weak. And men don't have an outlet. Because not only are most men weak, but men are being fucking attacked everywhere they turn. Most men are married to very critical women who don't even come close to doing what's required to show up as a woman in that relationship, to empower that man to rise. And most men don't have the tools to even know what the fuck to do. So you leave this environment where you're by yourself, and I explained to them, like, you leave this environment where, like in your example, you're really good at fitness, and then all of a sudden you add this other element to it. And guys are being asked to be emotionally available, financial producers, physical dominating savages that would protect if things go bump in the night, spiritual gurus guided by God's solid light, and at the same time, yeah, we're supposed to do all this shit together and be rich. There's a very small pool. It's interesting to look at the statistics right now. There's a very small pool of men who are desirable in the world. Men have a very large pool of women that are desirable because men's standards are different. We're like, you got tits, an ass, a vagina? You're nice to me? I think this could work out. Girls got like this long-ass checklist of shit, including be rich. And you're like, that's the reason why these guys are jerking off, looking at porn and saying, fuck it, I'm not going to hang out, let's Netflix and chill, because it's like this doesn't work out. So there's these weird parameters that are shifting. Then take a man and lock him in a marriage, because that's what it is. You have locked yourself in. And the only way for it to become a heaven and not a hell is to figure out how to put all this together. Like, what does fit look like as a father with, how many kids do you have?
So 2.
2. It's awesome. How old are your kids?
So we have a 3-year-old and a 3-month-old.
Oh shit, you're in a hot pocket. You're in toddler status, newborn status, and mama recover mode, and you came out of the sexual desert for a few months. Now you probably just passed the it's okay phase.
Yeah.
But it's still kind of nerve-wracking. You're kind of like not sure what we should do. Should we go? Are we all in? Are we not all in? Where are we at? Are we ready to compete? We're not ready to compete. Okay, I'm gonna go slow. Nope, we're going fast. We can go hard. Okay, I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to do right now. And by the way, I'm holding the baby, got to feed the baby, got to deal with the toddler, got to cover the kids, got to go to the business, got to make the money, got to take care of myself. Oh yeah, I need to be emotionally available. And I need to be spiritually connected. All this shit, this is too much. Fuck it, I'm out of here. So it's easy to just default because society gives you a hall pass to default. There's only one thing that society actually requires from you as a man, as a society, truly. Women say they got this whole long ass list. Their results speak to one simple thing. What runs the game in the conversation of man? One thing. It's not being fit either. That's just for the 20-something-year-olds. Women give a shit about that in their 20s. Once they're past their 20s, they don't give a shit about it, really. It'd be nice. It'd be nice if he's fit. That'd be great. It's not what they pursue anymore. They get all their fuck around games in their 20s. Once they get in their 30s, they look for something totally different. What is it?
Money.
Yep. So, to all the ladies who continue to pretend like it doesn't matter, well, you as a population are doing a shitty job at telling men, because what you reward men with is money. Men get paid, they're powerful. Men are powerful with money, and then all of a sudden there's a connection. Now, this gets weird in marriage because you're like, your wife needs you to produce and you want to produce, and at the same time, you're trying to show up and be a great father, but you're also trying to find your own path spiritually with God while trying to satisfy your wife, while pleasing your wife, while connecting with your wife, while trying to run a business, while trying to manage your teams, while trying to manage your customers amidst rising inflation and plummeting stock markets and real estate chaos and fucking political chaos and Black Lives Matter riots and fucking fake COVID and diapers on our face and all the rest of this shit. Like, how am I supposed to do this? It was easier and I just went to the gym and did some back and buys, son. But that's not the game that satisfies. So you're here getting honest about all of this other shit. That's all I need from you today. That's all you need from today. You don't have to fix anything today. Don't need you to fix anything. You don't have to have an idea how you're going to do anything outside of one thing, which is being honest about where you are in free and where are you bondage. We're going to start with the body. And that's hard if you came from a competitive background in fitness, particularly in fitness. Very difficult mentally for men and women who have been in fitness competitions, who are bodybuilders, who are fitted bikini competitors. Get twisted if you were cycling, using steroids, if you're doing any performance enhancing to get to where you are. The mind gets all fucked up over time, and it's hard to go back. So you feel like a pussy, even though you look like a stallion rocking around. To you in your mind, you're like, I'm not a great god anymore. I'm a fucking worthless piece of shit. Same thing happens with money. So today is the chance to just be honest about yourself. I mean, dude, I get it. I was in a fitness competition last week. 90% of those guys looked at me like I was a fucking little shrimp they were going to dip in some cocktail sauce. They're fucking huge, dude. And I'm like, I don't even have an ass. I can't even get one. I don't even know where to buy one. Get some fucking implants. Put that on my targets for 2024. From walking in here, I used to have a big old bubble ass. You'd be like, what happened to that guy? Some ass implants. Feeling great. Smack that ass. All right, good. Jeez. For some reason, I visually saw myself like, but I'm gonna. There's too many women here. I'm gonna pause that conversation. So this game then is also about feelings, right? So Matthew, we're gonna look at this, and I'm gonna have you stay with me here for just a second. We're gonna look at this from a different place because it's not just about getting clear about these things where you're free and where you're in bondage, but it's also saying, okay, here are the facts to me about where I am free to myself. Here's where I'm free to myself. Here are the facts about where I'm not free to myself. But here comes the second piece, which is we're going to identify the feelings that you have that are related to those facts. Here's how I feel about it. Now, feelings are words, not sentences. So, for example, when you look at your body right now, knowing the fitness world that you came from and knowing what your body is right now, when you look at your current body, how do you feel about it? What are some words that describe how you feel about your body right now?
Powerful, strong, confident.
Perfect. And we've got all kinds of men on this right now that if we ask them, where do you feel about your body? Then none of those are listed. Don't feel powerful, feel weak. Don't feel confident, feel unconfident. Don't feel certain, feel uncertain. Like the opposite. So all we're looking for from all of you is what is the truth about your feelings? So you're going to do the same thing, Matthew, when we come in, we start working here in just a second. You're going to be saying, okay, well, here's some facts and freedom in my body. And then along with that, here are some feelings that I have when I look at those facts. I look at those facts, here's how I feel. I feel great about my body. Don't even give a shit I don't have an ass. Don't care. People are like, oh, you don't have an ass? I say, don't care. Not trying to win a fitness competition. I love it. I feel great about my body. Body works. Works really good. Love it. Body's fit, lean, on fire, 188 pounds. Feel good. Not trying to win any competitions. I'm mobile, agile. I just move wherever I want to do. Body's great. Feel fantastic. Those are words. What does it feel like? I feel powerful. I feel confident. I feel certain. I feel capable. I feel empowered. I feel positive. I feel happy. I feel joyful. I feel all these things when it comes to my body. Right? Now, the flip side of this, once we have our feelings, is we've got to list our focus too. What do you think we mean by focus, Matthew? If we're looking at our facts, we're looking at our feelings, we're looking at this third thing, focus. What do you think I mean by this?
So what have our behaviors, habits, and mindsets been around our body?
Perfect. Perfect. Now, we're going to take this a little bit further, and I'm going to show you here in just a second how. We're going to look at it from one simple piece, which is, what is your story? What have been the stories that run your world? For example, in fitness, what's one of the stories that leads to your results in a positive way with fitness? The things you tell yourself. What's one of the things you tell yourself about working out?
It's just mandatory. Like, I have to do it. It's just part of showing up for my family. Like, I have to be healthy and fit for them.
Perfect. So look at this, a simple story. I must work out and be fit to show up as a father and a husband. That's a story. There's a lot of guys don't believe that shit at all. At all. They hear that and they're like, what? You think that? How's that even related? To you, it's normal. You're like, that's the story I tell myself. I wake up. I must be fit. Period. Like, I must be fit to be a powerful husband and father. That's the story I tell myself. That drives my focus. That drives my behaviors. That drives my attitudes. So when we talk about changing your story, changing your stories with shifts, Weston, that's what you're starting to see with your body. So shift, you're like, fuck the gym. Now you're like, dude, kind of like going to the gym. Kind of feel good. Kind of like being there. Feels good. I like this. Man, going to the gym makes me feel good. Now, all of a sudden, I got this new story I'm telling you. So we're getting to the root of all this. Today, our job is to uncover the stories we're telling ourselves, because those stories drive behavior. This is what shifted me to go from CrossFit workouts to surfing to what I do now, which is, who the fuck knows what I do now? It's like kettlebells intertwined with some treadmill, intertwined with listening to music, intertwined with stretching, intertwined with yelling at myself, just doing my thing. It is what it is. By my fitness routine in it, I have a story, which is I train to weaponize my body, but not to beat it down. I have another story, which is the purpose of my day is not to destroy my body. I used to spend that. How many went through that game in routine of fitness? Raise your hand. Where you like just beat yourself up all the time. You're like, beat it up, beat it up, beat it up. None of the girls. 2 of the girls. Okay, good. None of the girls. Any of the guys? Any of the guys done this before? Okay, Jackie knows what I'm talking about. Thank you. Thank you. Pregnant. You got pregnant. You're beating yourself up right now. Well done.
Still beating myself.
Still beating yourself up for a few, like another 6 weeks. You and Crystal. So this piece is even CrossFit. Jeff's like choosing CrossFit. You're like, okay, do I even want to do CrossFit anymore? I like it. I enjoy it. What's the purpose of it? You've been asked this question for years. Is it staying fit? Do I need any competition? Maybe I don't need any competition. Maybe I just like going. Maybe I don't care. You were a games competitor. You're like, dude, I'm a regional games competitor. Like, and now it's like, what? What's the story that drives you in CrossFit now?
It's in question right now.
And that's what he gets to be honest about. And I had the same place working out. I was like, It's why I can be super excited. That's why I look at Parker. I'm like, dude, fucking be 225 pounds. Let's go, son. I like it. Be bigger than me. Eat me. Make me look like a pussy. I'm ready. 46 years old. Don't need to prove anything. Want you to be giant. I want you to walk in a room and be like, God, that's my son. I'm fucking terrified. It's Hercules. Let's go. Hercules. I'm now starting to use jokes that only old people get. Like all the girls like, oh my God, what is he talking about? I didn't see on TikTok. It's my kids. It's like my daughter walks in and they're wearing like Nirvana hoodies because Target got all in the Nirvana game and Def Leppard. It's just so disrespectful. It's just so disrespectful. While listening to fucking Drake and like Megan Stallion, what the hell? Wearing Def, this is like the most disrespect. It's as disrespectful as saying Jesus Christ and fuck all in the same sentence. I offend people all the time with that. They offend me every day they walk in my house. I was like, take that hoodie off right now. You don't have no respect. Do you even know what portion of sugar on me even means? Get the hoodie off and else on is more respectable. So, like the meaning and the tie-in and all of what we're feeling, all this comes down to stories. My daughter shifts with her body, story. My daughter was trying to get really, really buff and big and big and big, and her whole narrative in her story was what was driving it is, I need to be big and physically aggressive to be safe. Now she's finding this other feminine side of her that's like changing. She lost like 18 pounds. She's getting leaner, and she's going this other direction because what changed? What changed, Matthew?
Your story.
Story. So many of you, beautiful brother, I appreciate you sharing today. Many of you are going to be in question today about your stories. Like, what is it that runs you? Like Danielle had a story. Her story was, if I lift weights, I'll be too masculine. This was her story. We can go ahead and bring Matthew down from the screen now. She'd be too masculine. She thought that lifting weights would make her look like a man. That's her story forever. Now, the interesting part is, what does actually lifting weights do? It makes you look even more like a woman. It like adds curves and all this, which was wild to me. I was like, okay. And the crazy part, she had another story, which is if I lift heavy weights, I'll get too muscly. That was not true either. We're playing and operating no different in the hair world. If I work 6 days a week and accept every client who comes to me and I work on their schedule and their routine, then I'll be happy and I'll make $100,000 a year. I'm a slave. I like curler sets. Yay! Here I go on Saturdays. Or switch my story. I work 3 days a week, 3 clients a day, make $200,000 a year. Period. That's what I do. There's a narrative that shifts that we're looking for. So you're going to identify the story inside of your focus. So we'll take our facts and our feelings, and you'll identify what your focus has been. That focus will be a series of stories. It's not going to be necessarily behaviors. I'm looking for stories. I'm going to give an example here in just a second. What are the stories that you have been telling yourself that led to the current freedom you have? What are the stories you've been telling yourself that led to the current bondage that you have? Simple, simple, simple conversation. Last piece. Once we get to the facts and we get to the feelings and we get to the focus, as we get here, we're saying, okay, inside of the conversation of fruit, what is the revelation or insight that I'm getting? There are things you've learned this year about what you have done. Ways you have done things, way you've operated, it's taught you. It's taught you about yourself. It's taught you about life. It's taught you how to operate. It's taught you how to not operate. These learning lessons and learning moments are mission critical to your success. You have to start extracting what you learned. There's things you learned this year in your body that you never learned before. Jackie, you've been pregnant before? Nope. You learning a lot this year about being a woman and being pregnant? Yeah, it's a little different than not being pregnant. A little different than hairless cats. Yeah, just slightly. Hairless cats are fun. They're amazing. Not being pregnant. Having a baby is not having a hairless cat. You're going to find that out here in about 6 weeks. It's hairless for a second, but it's not a hairless cat. It's a lot different. You're like, okay, cool. And all of us get to have this different experience. Who you are and what you see and what you've learned this year from freedom perspective and what you learned from bondage. What have you learned? For a simple example, in my world, I've just learned that I don't eliminate addictions. I just swap addictions. That's all I do. I don't ever get any. I've been an addict from the day I was born. I just swap addictions. So the game for me is really figuring out what addictions serve me now. I'm going to be an addict no matter what. Just what am I committed to being addicted to now? And is it better than the past addiction I had? All I did was swap out alcohol for plant medicine. I'm like, okay, I'm not like drinking, but I'm also participating in plant medicine, having a good time over there. I feel open, I feel connected, great. And I'm confident there's a point where I'm not gonna want that too, which is part of my missions for 2023. It is Project All Natural Weapon, which is a different thing I feel inspired to pursue with my body. No alcohol, no caffeine, no stimulants. I'm like, what the fuck am I even thinking? Can I even operate as a human being like this? Because I've only operated my whole life with like outside stimulants and helping me physically do shit. But all this began with the investigation of truth for me. So in my room, you're going to walk my block. You're going to go talk about this. You're going to talk about this framework of what we're going to be working through in all of our maps. You get back, and then in our group, we're going to do a 10-minute share. Virtually, you guys are going to share with each other on the same topic. When we come back, we're going to get work into our first category in the category of body. I'm going to show you how that works by giving you an example of my fact map in the game of body, and then we're going to give you time to work by yourself. So if you're clear about what we're going to do virtually, you got 10 minutes to talk through this framework. Type in clear into the chat so I know that you're clear. Type in clear so I know you're clear. Type in clear so I know you're clear. You're going to talk it up. If you were in my room, you're going to get on your feet, and you guys are off right now for a walk and talk around my block. Go get some fresh air. Find a buddy, find a buddy. Here we go, here we go. If you are virtual with me, you are going into your share.
Dick, Jack, David, Cooper, nice to meet you.
I know.
Yeah. So, you know, pretty basic, I guess. You've been through it a couple of times, like I have. You know, what are the facts? How I'm operating today in each of my areas, specifically, is going to be body. What are the feelings around those? That's what I struggle with. I don't really get in my feelings much. I don't get in my head much either, as far as being able to really stop and think and be present. What are those feelings around that? Does it help me? Does it hurt me? You know, interesting. Garrett said, you know, I just swap addictions. I feel like I'm the freaking same way, you know, getting off nicotine and I'm like, shit, man, what's next? I'm like, I grabbed 5 Hour Energies. Focus. Help me out on focus, David. What was, so I get facts, feelings,
So I think, facts are obviously facts. Feelings are how those facts make you feel. Focus is where do you have to focus, to get you to where you want to be. So like for body, that's easy. I mean, where do you need to improve on your body? Workout schedule, diet. So you get to figure out what you need to focus on to get to that freedom. And then fruit is obviously the results that you want to see from all of that.
I'm laughing because it made so much sense. Like when he was talking, I was like, I get it, man. It's so freaking clear that I'm trying to explain this shit. Nah, good job, man. Good job. Yeah. Yeah. What's the fruit? I mean, for me, I come back to like, what do I want? Right. And then am I committed to doing that? I guess that falls in there too. Am I focused on what's the fruit I want from that? Right. As well as what are some nuggets?
Yeah, I think you do that with the freedom side. You do that with the bondage side. What are the facts about your bondage? What's holding you back? What's causing the scarcity? How does it make you feel? See, this is where like focus for me is more relative to the bondage, and I may be looking at it wrong, but like focus to me would be, what do I need to focus on to get rid of this feeling of scarcity? If it's already a freedom, if this part of the body is a freedom for me, then I'm not entirely clear on how the focus comes into play there. Because it's already a freedom for us. So but then obviously, with the bondage, again, fruit, what do you hope to accomplish? What are the goals that you're going to set for 2023 in body?
Yeah.
I know myself, I've never really gotten into fitness per se, and I've spent way too much time going, I'm good enough. I'm better shape than a lot of people my age. That's good enough. Well, I eat a little better than most people my age. It's good enough. But I trained Aikido for about 5 years, and then when COVID hit, I got away from it, and I just haven't found my way back yet. And everything's just good enough, and it's really not good enough anymore. It's time to find a new focus.
Yeah, body for me has all since I was 18. I've been working out. It's always been. It became a habit and a way of life. And it's the one area out of the four where I'm actually confident and have freedom. It's just I need to learn how to transfer that discipline that I have with my body to the other areas, balance, being, and mainly business. Business is where I really struggle at putting in the effort, and that's the main reason why I finally got with Warrior, because for me, business is what drives everything else. If I'm comfortable in business, everything else for me levels up. But if I'm not, everything else suffers. So like for me, body's where I need it to be. There's some tweaks there that I'm going to focus on. But I think the facts, feelings, focus, and fruit. It's a progression. And you have to be honest with all four in order for any of them to kind of work themselves out.
Yeah, I've unfortunately had the same laissez-faire feelings around business. There's that old saying that if you don't have goals and plans, you'll work for somebody who does, and that's been me all of my life. and I've always been too scared to start a business that I wouldn't have the drive to keep it going. But I'm definitely looking to change that here.
Yeah, I mean, I think Garrett's mentioned it. You don't have to own a business to be successful. You know, he's made comparisons to people, you know, working themselves up through the business and, you know, in some situations making more money than the owner of the business. So, you know, I don't think it's predicated on being an entrepreneur. You know, you can be very successful without being an entrepreneur. But I think a lot of it has to do with fear. You know, I'm trying to find out why I only put 50 or 60% into my business when it's become so ingrained in me to give 100% with my body and close to 100% with my being and my balance. And I think fear has a lot to do with it for me. And like they said in the morning, or you know, when Garrett first started talking, he said you tolerate what you know. You know,
doing a lot of tolerating.
For the last 20 years of my business career, I've tolerated 50 to 60% effort because that's what I know.
I remember that quote. Got written down on one of my journals is like your comfort level knows the pain that you're willing to take, you know, so, or it was something like that. It was a great quote from Garrett.
Yep.
It's like it knows what you'll handle. It knows how much pain it can give you, and you know, you're like, I'm committed. You're like, no, you're not committed. Let's take the pain.
It's like it knows, but does it know what you can handle? Like, you know, most of the time you can handle more than what you think.
Well, I think that was his point. Is like, well, the point of the quote was like, was more, the reason, you know, yeah, your level of commit. Well, I'm gonna screw it up. I'm just gonna stop there.
Sorry. Rob, Will, you got anything to add?
I'm sorry, gentlemen. I just jumped in here.
Okay.
I had
I just
the
jumped.
last hour.
Yeah, I just jumped in as well.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I think you know, I've done this exercise before. I've been involved with Warrior for a couple of years now, and
okay.
You know, business has been a strength of mine, but I think body has been hit or miss, and a lot of that has to do with me using alcohol to sedate, and other things, not getting to bed on time, not waking up early, not making a priority to get in the gym every day. So I think that's going to be a big domino for me, is really focusing on getting my body geared up. So.
All right, so we got a chance to share. You got yourself on the same page with where we're going. I'm going to give you some examples of what this looks like. I'm going to share through my body map. This is where we're going to start. Some of you have already started down the path. I've been told by my team that you've been asking questions about how do I do certain things in the software, et cetera. Just wait. We're going to get to that here in a second, right? We're going to go to the notes section, but I'm going to walk through an example for you first, and then I'm going to show you how to open up your notes, and then we'll start diving into. There's a lot of freedom in how you set this thing up. But I'm going to read through an example, and then you're going to talk about what you saw in the example, and then we'll talk about what that example is here together as a group, and then we'll get off the races. The nice part is all of this slow roll in the morning is setting the context, also helping you understand how to use the tools. So as you use the tools, you can get off, we can go, we can share, we can talk, we can discuss, and we can go fast for the rest of the day. So let's go to an example. I'm going to pull up one of my maps here in the conversation of body. And I'm going to share here on our screen so that you guys can all see it. And I believe that we can do the same thing here inside of studio so that you guys can see it here, not in the training room, possibly. All right, come up. Okay, good. We're good. All right, I can zoom it all in. So what you see right here is my map in the conversation to body. Well, I've done a few things here with my map. They're going to be a little bit different than the way the formatting is set up right now. We are still testing the best way to deliver this to you. What format works the best, what direction moves the best, like just what's going to work best for you. And I'm actually going to go like this, make this smaller. That should be easier that way. Perfect. That'll be better. All right. That should be a little easier for you to see. Go a little bit there. I'll explain the frame around it, but right now I'm going to read through it and I want you just to feel what you're feeling, just listening to my body map. This was my body map I spent quite a bit of time on. This is my foundational map. Here we go. Complete foundational back map, December 2022. This was the lesson I took from it. Your body is either an anchor or an engine to your success in life. And it doesn't take radical change to transform into a weapon. It just takes a daily decision to train, fuel, and connect. Now we'll come down to my facts inside of freedom, looking at your fruit and body domain and what ways are you free today and why. My physical form has never looked better than it does right now. I'm walking around lean, active six-pack, and feeling toned, strong, and solid. My flexibility is solid. I'm very mobile right now. My diet is consistent. I essentially intermittent fast for 12 hours every day without really trying. My sleep is solid as fuck, and I have no issue sleeping deep right away and waking up when I want to. I don't drink alcohol almost ever. Cut down 95% of my consumption in 2022. I cut down my caffeine consumption by 95% in 2022. Testosterone's back up to 850 and feeling still powerful and normal versus when it was down around 300. Hired Dr. Boyd to be our concierge doctor, and it was one of the best decisions we've ever made as a family. Started down the plant medicine path with kava, kratom, and journey protocols, and a ton of this replaced alcohol and caffeine. Went consistently to the chiropractor the first 9 months of the year, 2 times a week. Walking around at 188 to 190 pounds. That's down 12 to 15 pounds from this time last year. Botox. I need some Botox. Look at that shit. A little Botox was like not even about that last year, Danielle. Botox, face care products, and a shaved beard have also helped in feeling young again and fresh. Microdosing as a strategy. How does this freedom embodied today make you feel? Happy, joyful, powerful, content, excited, empowered, and energized. What's been your focus embodied over the last 6-12 months to produce this freedom? Story 1, caffeine and alcohol do not run my life. I run my life, and choosing to radically reduce my consumption is about freedom more than addiction. 2, feeling flexible, mobile, and agile is the key to a long life with a body that loves me and treats me well. 3, choosing healthy food options is a habit, and once I nail that habit, the desire for sugar and bullshit goes away. 4, I'm an addict, and the key is to switch addictions versus trying to stop my addictive personality. 5, I sleep deep, solid, and connected, and in that place, recover quickly and ready for the next day. 6, I lift to be lean, not to lift to impress anyone or anything. 7, look good, feel good, play good. What impact has this freedom and body had on your being domain? I feel more spiritually connected and driven with God than when I am not drinking, and drinking every single day, 3 to 4 IPAs in 2021 per night. And the impact to me was significant on my divine connection, but I did not realize the impact until I stopped drinking. I feel my body is a lethal beacon for light and truth, and with the amount of stress I faced this year with business, family, life, it handled the stress like a champion and gave me no issues, thus allowing me to continue to sleep well and operate through many seasons of illness in the family when I simply could not be taken down. I just feel like my body right now has a shredded weapon that feels good in everything I wear, and when I'm naked during sex, I just walk around, and it impacts my personal certainty at a very high level. What impact has the freedom of body had on balance? I'm so much more confident sexually when I'm shredded. I didn't think this was the case, but it is. Me and Danny have had more sex this year in 2022 than we've had in any particular year, and we've been together for 21 years. It's not just good sex. It's porn star sex, connected soul, passionate sex, 99% of the time. It's happening 2 or 3 times a week. I'm confident it's happening because of the body and my certainty, as well as my shift and my connection at night because I'm not buzzed from alcohol. I feel more connected to my kids. I'm more in tune with them at nighttime, and on the weekends because there's no numbed out game going on with alcohol. It's now the opposite. There's a connection that's palpable and real that did not exist there before. I have set a new standard for my children, my son, and my daughters on fitness and what a dad bod should look like, and I love it. It makes me feel more powerful as a man and a father. I have more energy to manage and maintain a 1-year-old, a 4-year-old, a 12-year-old, preteen, a 16-year-old teenager, and a 23-year-old young man. We as a family are on fire, and I attribute a ton of this to my change in my body and my addictions. What impact has this freedom and body had on your business? Look good, feel good, play good. I can sense the increase in power when I walk on stage or start a virtual training. This certainty transfers to the men I'm leading and the strategic partners that I'm running with. I've also set a standard yet again for my trainers, my teams, and those I lead to change, drive change, and become a type of men physically that represent the brand of warrior. Increased power always drives increased production. In my case, I made 5 to 7 mission-critical decisions this year with the business that were possible because I was feeling much certainty and power when it came to my body. I was able to make a point at WorkCon 4 and take my shirt off with my brother Nick, who was committed to losing 120 pounds and demonstrate to 1,000+ men that I lead from what I live when it comes to body and every other category. I'm not some fat fuck telling everybody to be fit. What other thoughts do you have about the reality of this freedom and body and its effect on your life? My body matters, and I've known this my entire life. But this year, I was able to make so many small and seemingly inconsequential moves. But when they add them all up together, the compound effect is fucking massive. Testosterone, 95% reduction in alcohol, 95% reduction in caffeine, 95% reduction in sugar, increase in daily calisthenics and light kettlebell work. I just feel fucking bulletproof in a way that I've not felt in a long time. And there's no sign of it ever going away because I built in this new addiction, habit, and process to assure that I was on fire and in power with my physical weapon. I feel like a lean, shredded beast right now, and I have zero issues taking my shirt off at any time. And I remember about a year ago thinking when I was weighing 205 after coming out of the water surfing that I was embarrassed to take my shirt off for the first time. I could sense it, and I was like, whatever the fuck, what an ever-living fuck. So I made a series of very critical decisions that have empowered me to be in a world that I otherwise could not have been in. Bondage, looking at your fruit and body domain. In what ways are you in bondage today? Drinking feel-free tonics. I drink 3 or 4 of them a day. They were a great replacement for my alcohol and caffeine, but they now must go, as I can already start to feel the addiction to the kratom in them. Microdosing again, just like the feel-free served me in 2022, I'm going to make a push to be done with this strategy in 2023 also. Nothing else. That is what's so crazy, because right now I feel I have everything cranking in this category, and outside of my feel-free consumption, I am free. And even with these tonics, I do not feel like I have to stop, but I can sense the desire to be done with them completely in 2023 and create a game with my body that's 100% natural outside of my testosterone replacement, TRT, that's working amazing and making me feel like a normal man again. I truly do not feel stuck anywhere. How does this bondage body make you feel? Powerful, elite, confident, conscious, committed, courageous, elite, savage, happy, joyful, proud, clear, and connected. What have been your focus on body the last 6 to 12 months? I feel free tonics are the solution to my alcohol and caffeine addictions, and if I leverage them short term, can snap the patterns to hold me bound with my relationship to both other stimulants. 2, I feel way more connected with my feel free than I have with anything else I've ever drank before, and it's working to shift my energy and my focus. 3, plant medicine works so much better with my state of being, and I find myself truly connected and on fire on a daily basis when I have them in my system. 4, microdosing plant medicine is a strategy that's proven results for me over and over and over again. What impact has this bondage had on your being? None. I feel very connected, but I have felt a prompt from my soul that it's time to make a shift in 2023. What impact has this bondage had on balance? None with the kids, but it has led to some arguments with Danielle in the last month because she doesn't like when I'm drinking in the morning or on the weekends. Danielle has this opinion that I'm escaping or getting high, and she wouldn't be wrong. I've definitely overused them a few times this year and have gotten myself into a nice little high as balls pocket. Outside of the occasional battle with Danielle in the last 45 days, nothing. What impact has this bondage had on your business domain? None. I've been more focused than I've ever been, and our results in 2022 attest to that with the change and progress that we've made. What are thoughts you have about the reality of this bondage of body and its effect on your life? I just don't like being controlled by a substance. And now I have a taste of that with alcohol and caffeine, and I'm 100% sold out to continue to do this with everything and anything that I feel I need as a substance. So the target I'm sure for my impossible game and the next level of freedom will be the elimination of feel free from my patterns. Revelation. What are your final thoughts? Insights or revelations? Bottom line, I set my impossible game last year to be shredded and drop the alcohol and caffeine game by 95%, and I accomplished it all. I'm proud of the state of affairs of my body, and outside of some subtle improvements, I'm a walking weapon. I don't feel any real desire to compete with anyone or anything heading into 2023, so sports have taken a real backseat to my game. I stopped surfing 95% over the last 4 to 5 months of 2022, also with the rise in work schedules and commitment to my training to stay lean and fit. I used to paddle out no matter what the waves look like, and now I'm going to go surf maybe once every 2 or 3 weeks. I don't feel the bondage from this, but also would love to return to the water a bit more in 2023. Surfing does not have the pull for me anymore like it used to after 5 years of surfing, but I still love being in the water like I was this past Saturday. It's just fun, enjoyable, and a great change up for training. What's the primary lesson in life that you uncover by completing this body fact map? Your body's either an anchor or an engine to your success in life, and it doesn't take radical change to transform it into a weapon. It just takes a daily decision to train, fuel, and connect. So that's my body fact map. That's a real talk with myself. Sammy, what are you seeing when you hear that? What comes up? You're just listening to it. You know me, for a long time. What do you hear? Just like just the rhythm of this and what you're experiencing just listening to me read it.
Complete certainty and ownership in where you stand, and having you're looking back and you're knowing with complete certainty. I hit all this, and I know that this is not going to slow down. Something that's really been standing out for me as you go through this is the better bad choices. I've made significant progress here. I replaced it with this. Now here I am getting to step into that next version. I'm just seeing the grace and the high level ability to execute on the targets is already there, but I'm seeing the grace that you're having within yourself as you work through these better bad choices or these next iterations to complete freedom. But having seen, working directly with you, working so closely over the last 4.5 years, this has been the year that you've been the most free. This has been the year that I've seen the life work the most. And so I'm seeing you read this, I'm experiencing it, and I'm getting my own insights and questions to ask, well, what can I use instead of caffeine? Because it gives me a fuck ton of anxiety. And I drink a ton of caffeine, so I'm filled with anxiety all the time because of it, which stops my ability to show up as powerfully as I can. So I'm getting my own insights, then also just being met with gratitude, seeing that this is the case, knowing how much you've been fighting.
It's a lot of shit.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Too good? Boom! What do you think?
I've seen a couple different things. One, I just like the structure in which you did it, like how it's so organized, and it's just like fact, 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 story, story, story. It's not like convoluted or lost in there. It's not like messy or unorganized. It's just this like dump. You've gotten everything out in a super clean and concise and precise way. And I think by allowing yourself to like separate them that way is how you can get so clear on such small things.
Beautiful. Both amazing insights on this. To clap. Boom. So this process for all of you, I'm giving you an example. It's not the way, it's a way. Notice I changed some of the formatting in it. I moved some things around. These are very movable and pliable documents. You can move things around. You've got a framework that we're going to be working through, but it's not the commandments. This is not written in stone. You can move things around, change them. As you can see, I made some adjustments to it. But before we get to the adjustments and we get you into your first map and we start working down that path and give you some alone time, we're going to do two specific things. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to do a share. This is going to be a 6-minute share. It's not going to be a long share, 6 minutes. If you're in the room, you're going to get into a group, but in this, you're going to change it up. So Warrior, you're going to connect with someone DKW. DKW, somebody can connect with Warrior. We're going to intermix it, keep it here in the room, 6 minutes on the share, get a couple, three or four of you in a group. Off you guys go. Virtually, you are going to be getting into a group. We're going to go 4 or 5. I've got 6 minutes on the clock. Just what are you taking from just watching mine? Mine's not the way, but it is a way. If you're clear about what we're going to talk about here for the next 6 minutes, as you get a chance to dialogue with a couple other brothers or sisters here inside the group, type in clear in chat so I know you're clear. Give me clear in that chat so I know you're clear. Good, 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 good. Keep rolling, keep rolling, keep rolling. Beautifully done, beautifully done. All right, gentlemen, here we go. We got 6 minutes, and ladies, we got 6 minutes in the room. Get into your groups, blend those Warrior and DKW teams. And online, you're going to be in your groups in 3, in 2, in 1. Off we go.
What up, guys?
Hey.
That guy's a machine.
Yeah. And I thought that was very interesting because as they were going through the feedback on it, I said, well, but he's like in the self-assessment score, he scores himself at like a 12 or something on body, right?
Yeah,
and then I looked at mine and I said, well, mine's like 6 or 7, so should it be that positive, right?
Yeah, I did this with him a year ago when he set all those goals. And it's crazy to be a year later. And of course, he knocked them all out of the freaking park, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll be honest, I set a bunch of goals last year, or whatever we want to call them. And I hit a handful. I didn't hit them all, but I didn't look at them very often. And I have a feeling that guy looks at them every single day. He has reading those. I'm sitting here taking pictures of them just as an example because those were so beautifully written. he's a master at this. So I'm excited to roll through. I was in WarriorCon 4, so I've already filled out a lot of mine, but looking at his, I haven't reviewed them since then. So I'm going to go back and rewrite and redraw and re-storytize. The story's new. We didn't go through the story at WarriorCon, so we're going to have to, and I like where we're going with this compared to any other fact map we've done before. If any done that.
And that was my question in the last section. I said, oh, when he was talking about focus, the way I filled it out is, well, I have strong core strengths. And it's because I've been doing Pilates all year. But his was, this is the story that I'm telling, because focus and story equal one another in our process, right? So, and I assume like we have good stories, and then there's stories that we would be telling around the area of bondage, and you have to change those stories.
Right.
Well, what's interesting to me was how he had multiple stories listed. That was it. He's like, story number 1, story number 2, story number 3. And I'm like, okay, I only had kind of one story, one kind of main story was what I was looking for, right?
Right.
It was just kind of opened my eyes. I'm like, okay, there could be multiple stories that are happening here.
Yeah. And were those stories that he had at some point, did they come out of a stack? Right? So the stories that in terms of your positive fruit, you would assume that this is the story that I changed to get that result. And the ones around the bondage, possibly, right? Because not all the bondage was bad. There's good addictions. But here's one that I need to change. What story am I telling myself around that? Stack it.
Yeah, that was one of the things that, he obviously doesn't have a ton of bondage, other than like he was drinking. So I'm like, I've got a lot more, I guess, bondage than that. So I kind of like to see a real one.
Depending. You might say, well, he has a very addictive personality, right?
Right. Yeah, I think, but I love how he flipped it too. He's like, I'm addicted. I'm addicted personality. I'm addicted to things. So like, what do I swap it for? And I remember doing that. And this is years back, but I stopped smoking, and I'm like, I've got to replace that with something and I don't want to replace it with food because like if you stop smoking, you instantly gain like 20 pounds. I didn't want to do that because you replace your habit of smoking with food a lot of the time. So I'm like, I want to swap it with something else.
Well, there's a very safe one. It's called breathing.
Yeah.
It's okay to be addicted with breathing.
That's right.
Yeah, for me, it's this new structure is it makes a lot of sense to work it through like this, and it's always a little disheartening and encouraging to hear when like Garrett goes through his stuff, like the way he's setting goals and setting these targets up. Compared, it's like fuck, I'm playing in the kiddie pool still, but it's also inspiring because that this guy has accomplished so much, but he's not sitting back, right? He's not like, okay, cool, I did that, So I kind of felt both when he was going through those things.
Yeah. I think it's quite interesting too. Like if you think of like Toyota, they're at like such a high level of quality, so they're very, very clear, and they're chasing this X%. Whereas again, if you're scoring yourself at 3, you're Detroit in the 1970s.
Oh God.
There's a different level of understanding. Right?
Oh, where did you get where'd you do the scores from? Because I guess I missed that.
Oh, there's assessments.
Oh, okay, cool. I have not done that.
Yeah, and I think it's in the app too. I'll let me look.
It is. It's under the game on the far right side.
Game and then fact maps.
Okay. You're gonna go.
I see it.
Yeah. Game, check in.
Yeah.
And then on the far right side of check in.
Look at that. You're getting the fade in and everything. Cameron looks nice. All right, let's bring in Victor, Vento, and the traveling elephants. Holy shit, Victor! I haven't seen you while your hair's getting long. I like it. All right, let's go there. How long? That fact map took me 45 minutes. 45 minutes. That's how long. Somebody asked a question. How long did that take? I said 45 minutes today. You guys are gonna have working time here in a second. Obviously, it's like watching somebody also who's like done jujitsu for 10 years, and you're like, how the fuck did you do that? And you just started putting your gi on and tying your belt. You can't even keep your belt on. So understand, I'm giving you a very intense example, right? You just getting it on paper and going is going to be already amazing, no matter what version you get out today. I'm just giving you an example way up high, what that looks like from my level. So, Victor, what are you seeing from this?
I'm curious. I was just talking about this. I know you guys wouldn't have changed it if you didn't feel it was more efficient. I know the questions in the past were definitely triggering to certain things that I may not have been aware of, but this is a little bit more in depth, allowing me to explore like what's top of mind, what is working, what's not working. And I like the bondage section of it where it's like, well, how does that affected this area? Because one of the things in the past that I've realized was, for example, for me initially in the very beginning, balance transformed, and that affected my business to go up to because I showed up differently in business. So I'm excited to see how we can cascade it and like, well, this is working because this is working there, and there. Just kind of more overall, I guess, holistic approach.
Beautiful. And you nailed it too, which is what is top of mind, what's top of soul for you?
Yeah.
Right. The questions at the beginning were us is kind of leading you down a path.
Yeah.
And the more we went down this, I've been testing this for the past year, and like our high level groups that come here, guys are investing hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to be part of the process. And they're my crash test dummies. So we've been just slamming the shit out of them, Victor, just figuring out what would work in groups of 25 to 30 guys, testing with myself what's going to be best. And you're right. What we're finding more and more is that if we can get you into a place to be able to connect with God and connect with yourself, and then get you to free flow what you feel needs to be talked about, the truth that comes out is more rich, it's more potent, it's more powerful than anything we've been able to direct with the questions at the beginning. So I love it. Beautiful. I'm excited to share. Look at that hair getting all long.
Yeah, man. My wife loves it.
She love it? Have you been tracking sex? So you having more sex with long hair?
Soul fire sex, brother.
That's what I'm talking about, bro. Grow that hair out. Don't ever shell. See you next year. Your hair will be like down to your
She
midwaist.
doesn't grab here. She grabs up here.
That's right, dude. She grabs it. Just, oh, yeah. Just gets it, dude. Like it. Well done. All right, beautiful. Two glove. Boom. All right. How many of you guys online, how many of you would like to get that hair grab game going on in 2023 that Victor's got going in? Type in hell yes in the chat if that's you. Type in hell yes, gentlemen. Don't fucking lie. Some of you ladies are wanting the same thing, too. We know MBR can do it. We've tested it, Danielle and I. Why we like MBR extensions. It's great for all kinds of activities. Surfing, sex, aggressive sex. Beadwork is solid, but if it's not, it causes some problems. Slides right off that bead. All right, so we have a couple of things we're going to look at. Well done with the hell yes. We got a whole bunch of guys who want their hair pulled in 2023. For the guys that don't have hair, just grow your back hair. Kind of be a substitute. I don't know if that works out. That's a little wild. Now, you're not feeling that, Jackie? You're like, fucking back hair, bad idea.
It's not a replacement.
I know. I think there's probably somebody that's inspired by the back hair. I mean, dude, my daughter told me the girls sell pictures of their feet.
Yeah.
This is the thing. I didn't even know this was a thing.
Yeah.
It's like a real thing.
Yeah.
It's like a make some money kind of thing.
You can make a whole income off of it.
Sounds like you're already doing it.
No, I have debated though.
Exactly. Well, I was like, it's weird. I'm like, well, you tell you $10,000 a month, like selling pictures of your feet? And I was like, yeah. I mean, my 12-year-olds, we were like driving in the car, me and Bailey and Ruben, they were talking all about it. I was like, it's a full business. I was like, yeah, but that's where it starts. You got used to making some cash selling pictures of your feet. Now it's like, just picture your knees. I'm like, it's not a problem. Next thing you know, you're just full nudes. So I don't know. It's a weird thing. I don't know how to feel about it. What does your daughter do? Well, she's a full-time foot model. Those pictures of her feet, it wouldn't be different if you're a foot model. I don't know. It's fucking weird. All right, we've digressed. Let's continue forward. So let me draw a couple things out for you here on the board to, again, explain how this process is going to work. Today, you're going to be going through those who have done this before. There will be some slight changes to the way we do it, but there's also going to be some things that are very consistent. Those who have not done it before, well, let me bring you up to speed how it's going to work. I have just introduced a concept to you, which is we have now gone through what I call the teach phase. The teach phases are going to get smaller and smaller today. They're going to be a very short, concise, 10 to 15 minutes max, where I'll teach you some ideas as we get into each one of our categories. Once I teach you, you'll then move into the next stage of the process, which is you will type. That stage where you get to work by yourself, right? The typing experience will then lead into the talking experience, which is we'll take the work that you do alone. Here's by yourself. Then we'll take the work that you did inside of your app and we'll put you into breakout groups over here in the third stage of the process, and you'll talk about it. During the discussion component, you're going to get insights from hearing other people talk and share. How many are finding that already here in the room, that when you listen to other people's opinions and perspectives, it's starting to affect how you see things? Raise your hand. How many of you online right now are experiencing the same thing? Type in me in the chat that when you hear other people share and their perspective, it's affecting what you see. So I want you to consider that as you go through this process, the talking process is as important as the typing process, because a lot of what you're going to refine and change or add insights to the note is going to happen during the talking process. Somebody's going to be sharing something in one of your breakout groups. You guys are going to be in a 20-minute breakout. They're going to be talking about one of their maps. You go, man, that's really good. You're going to take their ideas and put them into your note because it makes sense for you to do the same, and or you're going to just see the way they language things. Vice versa, when you share all in with yours, you're going to be the same person contributing into the same groups that you'll be extracting from. So we want both contribution and extraction. I'm going to contribute some value. I'm also going to extract some value. So there's a give and take that happens to the process. Now, let's come back to the board. So we'll move from our first phase, teach, into our second phase. I'm going to draw this up a little nicer. Second phase is going to be type. Third phase is going to be talk. We'll then come back together after the talking phase. We'll come back together as a group into the training phase. And this is when I will take us as a group and we'll do some work down, some hot seats, some breakthroughs. That'll happen with people who may be stuck with their maps, and they will follow this model all day long. I'll teach some ideas. We'll then type them up individually. We'll talk about them in small groups, and then we'll end up our game right over here, which is training them across the board, making sure everybody's clear, we've answered questions, nobody's stuck, and then we'll move forward into the next category. So we're going to follow this model for the whole day. We're also going to follow this across body, being, balance, and business. We've actually done all the work we need to get us prepared and ready. We are going to take a lunch break at 1 o'clock. At 1 o'clock p.m., you guys will be free at home to take a lunch break here, our time. Then here in the office, our teams will go take a lunch break too and come back. So there's going to be a break in this. We do have plenty of time to get this done by the end of the day. Although some of your brains like, shit, we're running out of time. We're not. We're going to be done by 6 o'clock p.m. Pacific. There's plenty of time as we get through this. I'm building up slowly, getting your brains ready so that we can jump in. We'll start with body, and then we'll start moving beyond this. Now, we're going to do one last share. That's going to be 5 minutes here in the room. You guys are just going to stay here. We're going to share online into a group also. You're going to find 2 people in the group here in the room to be with. Get into tripod. Virtually, you're going to do this for 5 minutes. I just want you to talk through this model right here. Teach, type, talk, train. What do you guys understand about it? What makes sense to you about it? What are you getting about it? Again, if you can teach it, then you will know it. If you know it, then you can do it faster. So I just need this to go quick and efficient. I need to know that you know it. It's the entire model for Warrior heading into 2023, which is you must know the frames and memorize the frames as part of Warrior launch, as part of what's happening in Warrior Council. We'll talk more about those today. There are hundreds of you on here today who have not made a decision about whether you're moving on to launch with us or whether you're moving into council with us in 2023 or whether you're going to default into the software and build your own community there. Either way, today is going to be part of that process. These experiences you're having in the live and virtual environment here in this training room is how it's going to go down every single month in 2023. But that, as well as right now, is all going to come down to us making sure that you get it by being able to teach the frame. So we have a framework: teach, type, talk, train. We got 5 minutes. We're going to go into groups. We're going to share on these as a group. If you're clear about what you're going to be talking about for 5 minutes on this breakout, type in clear in the chat so I know you're clear. Type in clear in the chat so I know you're clear. Going to be clear as up in that chat. Beautiful gentlemen and our handful of powerful ladies online. You guys are going into groups and your 5 minute share in 3, in 2, in 1. Off you go.
What's going on?
How's it going?
All right, who wants to go first?
I think you're up.
I guess I shouldn't have said that now. So this is all fairly new to me still. But basically,
I completely understand the process now of a fact map, seeing how his was laid out, what he did, and everything. So for me, to be able to type something or do something, you have to be able to teach it. One, because you're confident in that category, and two, you actually learn things still by teaching, right? So teach, go to type. So after you're familiar with what you're doing, you're educated in it, then you can actually apply that to yourself, okay? Openly talk about it and train. I'm sure I just butchered that, but who wants to go next?
Actually, no, I work in education and you did a very good job paraphrasing it.
Thank you.
Well, I guess since I'm talking, I guess I might as well go on.
You're next.
I'm next. This is my second fact map, and it's really cool to see how we're going into these talk sessions and breaking it down and really emphasizing, know the structure and know the tools that you're using before you go in and execute. And really getting specific. We're going to take some time to type it out. This is what you're typing out, and then we're talking. I think also the difference from, or he's separating the difference from teaching and training. And so, and I really like these small groups. It's really cool because I hear different perspectives. Somebody shines light on something that I didn't catch just because of my own ego or my own hurt. And then someone was like, hey, it's like a flashlight. So I'm really grateful for that space. And that's pretty much it in a nutshell for me.
Nice. Good.
Just gonna say really quickly, yeah, like I've been struggling all morning with like fully engaging in this. Just because I have, half-assed making plans in the past, always just not followed the plan. It's like the first shot and everything's in the fog of war, it's like a plan never survives past day one, and I always just scramble, and I'm a survivor and I find a way, right? And so it's like this whole day I've just been a little bit conscious of how much I don't want to plug in on this, and yet I show up for like the launch calls and all the rest of it is like really powerful and connecting for me, right? So like I'm still unpacking a little bit what's at the base of my reluctance to really fully throw my faith into this process. And so I'm thinking about signing up for the next one again, just so that I can get another straight run at it, and just basically like going through this one and seeing what happens, though I would have loved for this to have been like the perfect process for me at this time of year. It would have been ideal. You know what I mean?
That's good. Yeah. So my first exposure to Warrior was Warrior Con 4. That 3 or 4 day process, I decided to do launch. And that's the most money I've ever invested in myself. So believe me, I get it.
Me too. Yeah, I'm there with you.
Yeah. So
I'll go real quick. Yeah, Dave, I think it's good to do these fact maps and go through the training more than once for sure. And he does change things up a lot. I like what he does, how he trains us, and then we go into these breakouts, and then we go through it and teach each other, and we learn things from each other. Most definitely. And then we do the work, and then we come back and we talk about the work, and it's a great process, and we do learn from each other for sure. So I've done more than one fact map, and every time I'm picking up things new every time. So no worries, Dave. Hang in there, brother.
good talk.
Well, best of luck, everybody.
Thank you. You too.
Absolutely. Thanks, everybody.
All right, so we are back in the mix after teaching that simple framework. If you are clear about how the framework works, type in hell yes into the chat. If you're clear about how it works, not feeling any confusion around how that one works is what we're gonna be doing there, great. Type in hell yes in the chat so I know. Good, 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 good. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna show you how this works inside the map. So we're gonna open up our map and we're gonna get after it. I'm going to show you, come back to my example again, but I'm going to show you this time how to actually set up your own maps. If you've not done this, it's not very complicated. You'll click on that create button. So once you click on that create button, you'll see a book that says template. You'll click on template, and then what should happen is new maps populate. It did, so that's good news. Weston, it's always good. Once that happens, you're going to see some brand new maps open up. Your first one you'll see is under facts. When you click on that facts, it's going to show you body, being, balance, and business, which you'll see right here. This you can label. I labeled mine body or fact map December 2022. So go ahead and label it once you open it up. Go ahead and label that real quick, December 2022. So we know and reference this folder as you're going forward. Again, you'll click on and open up and set up a brand new. Click on create, click template. Template will then populate fact maps, freedom maps, focus maps for you inside of the notes. Once you do that, label that just like I have. I labeled mine fact map December 2022. Yours is going to show up as it's going to be blank as fact map. Once you have that labeled as December 2022, type in the chat done so that I know you're done in the chat. And if you are done in the room, raise your hand so I know you're done. Okay, good. We are winning. This is good. We're winning. We're almost all the way there. In my chat, let's see where we're at on my chat. Coming along. Where are you? There you are. And we're sharing. There's my chat app. Okay, perfect. I'm going to pull that over here. All right, we got done on that one. Next thing you'll come down to then, yep, I'll go through Michael one more time. Okay, so we're going to come in. You'll click create. Once you click on create, it will pull up and you'll click on template. When you click on template, it will populate all 4 folders filled with notes. One of those will be a fact map, which you'll see right here show up as fact map. When you open that up, you'll see 4 maps, and there's a body map, a being map, a balance map, and a map and a business map. I want you to label that fact map like I have, December 2022, just so you've got it for point of reference. What we're talking about is a summary for the year sitting right now in this particular pocket. Once you've labeled December 2022 and you are done in the chat and you finally got that figured out, great. If you are new and just barely got it done finally, then type in finally. Type in finally if you're with us. If you're already done, don't worry about it. If you're done there when you finally got it up, finally, done finally. Bryce, thank you. Dylan, finally in the mix. Brandon, done and finally. Kyle, Scott, Brad. Okay, we're going to click on body. Inside that map that you've not opened up, you're going to click on the body fact map. This is where you get to be a little more freestyle-ish. We have got a template that pre-populates for you. You can have this thing look like however you want to look. This is a complete editable document. You can change things, format things, etc. You have all your tools sitting across the top, from bold to italics to underline to being able to change the size of the font. If you want to change the size of the font, you can change the size. If you want to color it, make it colored, you can do that too. If you want to put bullet points, if you want to put anything, we do not have subfolders inside the folders yet. Coming. But right now we don't. So underneath that, you'll just have these 4 notes. Body, being, balance, and business. Open up your body map so that it is ready to go and you have it pulled up on your screen or your device that you're using. And once you have it pulled up on your device ready to work, type in the word work into the chat so I know you're ready to work. Type in work into the chat. Type in work. You can see also that I have changed the format of mine. I got rid of the bullet points on the questions. I pulled the questions over to the sides. I increased the font size of those. I put my comments underneath it with bullets. You could leave it the way it is right now and just type underneath it and do that. You can change and format this thing to be whatever you want. We're doing this because we're still tightening in and finalizing exactly what it needs to look like. I imagine sometime by the end of Q1 next year, we'll have it all done. And we'll have it automated with ways to interact with the general's tent, etc. But right now, I got to prove what you actually do with it. And we got to prove how I use it, how our guys are using it, how you're using it. When we got enough of you using it a particular way, then we can put it into code and we can get after it. I'll show you how at the end of tomorrow, we're going to take the freedom maps and what we'll do on Friday with focus maps and how we'll implement those into the current software system with the game and how that plays out with fact maps under the old system. There is a very simple way that we're going to transition this with data at the end. Now, in the room, any questions about this as we stand right now? No. Okay, questions in the chat. Notes automatically save as you type, Justin. They do. They do automatically save, but also if you want to do some catch on that, you can click in and out of those, and you'll see a pop-up that says Notes saved. The text is being saved as you're there. War Stacks Friday, they're going to be different. War Stacks aren't where we're going to go. We're using it different. We're using Focus Maps shown on Friday, which is a different map that you haven't used before. It's been populated already inside your system, so you'll be able to see that. Terry, what are you unclear about? Type in what you're unclear about. I'm the notes editor, correct, right? You can use the notes editor however you want. Yep. So inside of this, you're going to type in. If I'm coming in and I'm typing underneath this, I can type in whatever I want. Type in, I can work on this in whatever I want. This is just like a Google Doc or working like an Evernote document. You get to format and type it up whatever you want, however you want it to do. All my notes keep disappearing when I enter them. Eric, I'm not sure what you mean specifically by that. We just got a link that came through that can help you out a little bit with it too. There was some things right there. Oh, look at that. A little note that says, oh shit, suddenly my note is blank. Click on that little link. Weston's got you just fired in there. That'll help you out. If you still have a problem with that, we have our teams on chat right now, and they can pull you into specific one-on-one conversations to make sure that you get things up to speed. Did the same thing for me, just hit discard. Sean said hit discard. Sometimes on this too, because of the way our software rolled out right now, some of the updates we did recently, if there is a problem, just hit refresh. Go out of the note, come back into the note, and data should populate itself back in. So none of your data is going to be lost whatsoever, so don't have any panic about that. Everything you're typing is being captured as we go. We have made sure of this, but there are some things that change based upon device, based upon what device, what browser, and what function you're using. We're getting a little bit of a glitch that's popping up occasionally for some people, not for everybody. So if that's you, no problem. Just type it in the chat. We'll help you guys get fixed with that personally. We're no longer using fact maps right now, not for this experience, no. I would imagine that by the time we get through the first quarter next year, I will eliminate everything you see as the current fact mapping process, and we'll be replacing it with the current updated, more flowing style. Everything with the Warrior right now is going much more open source, which is there are a lot of different perspectives on how to do this and how to play this game. And the more I pull away the restrictions to give you more free flow access to do work, what I'm noticing is guys connecting more powerfully with you. What I'm also noticing inside that space is you're finding more power and more connection to what you're writing. Okay, perfect. Yes, very much like an open stack. Okay. Sometimes takes a little bit longer to populate. Yes, we are having some of that. Again, depends on the device, on what browser you're on, but we should be good either way. Warrior's never the same. Neither is a true warrior. Nope. We're always evolving. For those who were part of software with us in the past, you can see the difference in what we're doing right now. It's a radically different place. For those that disappeared in 2018 or 17, came back to Warrior here just this year at WarriorCon 4, and are part of this experience, you can see how much things have radically changed, much more stabilized. Between now and next year, the software tool becomes something explosively different than even what it is right now. So we're going to get to work. But in order to get to work, we're going to get grounded. So everybody at home, I want you to sit back in your chairs. If you're here in the office, take a bite of that banana. Hurry and gag it down. And close your eyes, sit back, relax, put your device down. If you were at home, I want you to do the same thing. Sit back in your chair, close your eyes. Sit back in your chair, close your eyes. Sit back in your chair and close your eyes. Now, I'm going to guide you through a little bit. We're going to say a quick prayer, and we're going to go straight into this. You're going to get to work with body. Let's go ahead and take a deep breath in. And release. And deep breath in. And release. And deep breath in. And release. And one more deep breath in. And release. Just be here with me, be here in this moment, eyes closed. God, we come together as men and women. We come as kings and queens. We come as creators. We come as your children. We come from different parts of the world. We come some here in person inside the training room. We have some of us virtual in different states across the United States, in Canada, in Europe, South America, who have come pursuing truth. And Father, regardless of the belief systems or the ideologies of the religious affiliations or the way they understand you to be, Father, I would ask that today you would be with these men and women, that you would guide their keystrokes, that you would guide their insights, that you would guide their minds, that they would have the courage to speak truth to themselves, that they have the courage to be honest about what is, both in the things that have been amazing, the things they have done so great, the things that they truly have found freedom, that you would encourage and empower them to own those things, own those aspects, type them in with passion, discuss them today with fire and confidence. And on the flip side, Father, that in those areas where they're feeling weak, they're feeling exposed, they're feeling vulnerable, and they don't want to talk about it, possibly inside the game of addiction with their body, or maybe behaviors and patterns that people don't know about. As we move across all these different categories today, from their bodies to their relationship with you and being, to the relationship with their significant other and balance and their children, and the relationship with money and their business and their jobs, that Father, you would be with them today. That amidst all of the chaos outside of this place, that there would be a peaceful pocket that would open up around them. That this peace itself would move into their hearts, it would move into their minds. That the guilt and shame that typically comes associated with some of these conversations, that it would be pushed to the side. That you would allow it to sit outside of their space, virtually at home in their homes, at whatever chaos with children and spouse or business is happening, that there would be a push away. That if they were tired in the middle of the night and they're here with us because it's 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the morning where they are, that there would be renewed energy and vigor inside of their experience today. That they would not find themselves tired, but the opposite. They would find themselves connected and inspired by this dialogue they're about to have with you. That, Father, you would engage them in a way during this time that they would be honest. Honest in a way they've not been honest before. Honest in a way that can lead to a powerful place of liberation. This is our prayer, Father, as we get started this day, as this powerful group of men have come together in your name in all kinds of different ways of describing that. We end this and begin this experience in Jesus' name. Amen. Gentlemen and ladies, the time is now yours. Here's how it's going to work. I'm giving you 40 minutes on this. 40 minutes to work. You can turn some music on at home. We're going to turn some music on here in the room. We're going to play some music into this experience for you too. If you don't like the music, go ahead and turn it down. It's all right. Just turn your monitor down. Put on the music that does inspire you. And nonetheless, you don't want to have any music. You can just be quiet. But we're going to go 40 minutes on this activity. You're going to start at the top. You're just going to start answering questions. My suggestion as you do this is just be with it. Just be with it, type it, speak into it, and move with it. If you're having a problem at all with your technology or something's going on with your notes at all, if that's the case, go ahead and type that into the Zoom chat, and our teams will be pulling you to the side and helping you have that conversation and get you fixed. With that being said, let's cue some music. We got 40 minutes on the clock. You got 40 minutes to work through this. 3, 2, 1, off we go. So how many of you right now got through it? Raise your hand. You good? Online, how many of you got through it? Type in me into the chat. I know some of you are having some talking back and forth with our tech teams, getting some things fixed for you. Me. All right, beautiful. So here's the deal. This thing's going to evolve. We're going to go into a share session right now. During these share sessions, here's how it's going to play out. You're going to not only be sharing from your side, but you're also going to be learning, right? Which means you've got an opportunity to be able to discuss this and have conversations with this. As people are sharing in the group, you're going to be present listening, but you can also be adding. So this is a part where you get to share. It's important, even if nobody was listening to you. You getting to read through. Do not ad-lib. Do not add to. Just take whatever you wrote. You're going to read the question. You're going to read your answer. What I want you to do in the group is you're going to go around with freedom, and then you're going to come back around with bondage. So you go through your freedom component. Everybody gets a chance to share in the group with freedom. Then you come back to bondage. Everyone will get a chance to share with bondage, and they'll be wrapped up. So there's going to be 2 rounds on this. We're going to play inside of this activity right now. We've got 20 minutes. 20 minutes to be able to go through this. 4 people per group. That gives you about 5 minutes to read down through your map. If you get done or complete soon in your time, you still got enough time in it, that's fine. Just keep going a little bit deeper. Talk a little bit more about it. If you're in the group with them, etc., ask them questions. You got about 2.5 minutes for freedom. You got about 2.5 minutes for bondage, so total about 5 minutes each. So roll around the first time around with freedom. Second time, roll around with bondage. You're here in the group, turn to somebody next to you and explain to them how we're going to do this here in just a second. So quickly, with somebody right next to you, one person. If you're in my virtual group, you are going to be in a share. This share itself is going to be simple. You got 20 minutes on this. We're going to be going into our shares as a group. If you're clear about where we're going to go on this, type in clear into the chat. So I know you're clear. Type in clear, type in clear. 5 minutes total for each person, but you're going to divide that up into 2.5, 2.5. So 10 minutes on the freedom, 10 minutes on a bondage, and then we'll share that up. So every person's got a chance to share. As you're listening, add to your conversation if you hear something inspiring. So we are ready to move forward into our virtual shares. You got 20 minutes on this share in 3, in 2, in 1. Off we go.
Shane.
Hey, how are you?
Good, man. How you doing?
Doing good.
You got Derek and Studio Record. Are you guys with us, or are you guys ghosts?
Looks like they may be ghosts.
Might be ghosts.
Sorry, guys.
Hey, no problems.
I was on.
Hey,
I
Derek.
had the music turned down, and then I wasn't paying attention.
I was afraid that wouldn't happen to me
I
too.
had the volume down, everything.
I did the same thing. I just happened to turn it up at the right moment.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Who wants to go first? Well, what's the exercise here? Share all. It's share your freedom, and then share it for like 2.5 minutes. Go around, and then come back, and then share your bondage for 2.5 minutes, and then sort of touch base on where everybody's at. I think.
Yep.
All right. All right. I'll just roll right first into my freedom, I guess. And one, my freedom. Yeah, I wasn't loving most of the stuff in my body, freedom-wise. I came back to I'm still strong overall. Movement is getting better. I'm overall healthy except for allergies. Maintained decent strength and weight while doing a lot of moving and traveling. I'm more flexible as I found yin yoga, which I like. How does it make you feel? Like I'm making progress in yin yoga and flexibility, which is good. Maintaining, it makes me feel like just pissed off. Focus and body has just been maintaining the last 6 to 12 months, basically. How's this freedom and being? Just maintaining doesn't make me feel like a winner, but I know that I need the flexibility, so that has the impact on my being. Freedom and my balance. I have more time with my wife since I'm not working out as much. Impact in business. I've been more tired probably because I'm not working out as much, honestly. Which I don't know why that's a freedom, but it seemed like it to me. Stories along this freedom is that cardio is just not important to me. So I don't give it a lot of thought and time, and it doesn't seem to hurt me, so I'm okay with that. TRT has been good, and that I don't need all the crazy subs I was taking, 2 years ago. So freedom from some of those things. So that's my freedom, which is not positive, but what I got.
Good share. I'll go next. Freedom. I can move my body with a new level of flexibility and mobility in my hips, knees, shoulders, and core. I can walk freely without pain. I can lift heavier weights than before. I'm now 50 years old. Way it makes me feel confident, proud, hopeful, powerful, optimistic, happy, and joyful. My focus. I have been regularly doing GMB mobility workouts, surf athlete workouts, walking and lifting heavy weights with my son at the gym. What impact has it had on your being? I can relax more and be more present because my body has more vitality and less stress. Balance. My wife appreciates the slight change in my physique and the way I dance around her playfully. Body, or business. I am showing up more powerfully and present in meetings. Other thoughts. My increased mobility and flexibility help me be more confident and present overall. That is my freedom.
Right on, man. Am I unmuted here? Make sure.
Yep, you're good.
You're good. So me, freedom, first one is just the fact that I'm healthy and able to still work out daily. Last year I had COVID super gnarly for like 3 months. So I have a whole new fresh respect of just having life in period. I'm alive and surviving. I get ample sleep every night, and I'm still able to wake up at 4:30 in the morning every day before my alarm even goes off. My mind is healthy, and I can focus and get to get the work I want to get done each day. The freedom in body, how does it make me feel? I feel grateful to be alive, number one, but other than that, I just feel more mediocre, unsatisfactory, weak, and pissed off that I'm just not where I want to be after this last 2 years. I turned 50 next month, and that was a big goal of mine 2 years ago. And man, I'd lost like 60 pounds, and I've gained 45 of it back over this last year. So kind of went the right direction for a year and the wrong direction for a year. What's my focusing on body. What am I focusing on? I'm able to go to the golf a few times a week, still lift, do the things I love, surfing and whatnot here at home. Freedom to go to bed early enough at night to get up early enough in the morning. And I'm not consuming alcohol 5 out of 7 days a week, which leads to mental freedom down the road. Freedom in being. I feel like when I get out and walk, when I hit exercise button on the Core 4 app, it gives me the emotional drive, the routine, and the habit necessary to hit the other 3 areas of my life. When I do not exercise, everything else falls apart. Relationship with God, everything. So exercise is my number one trigger that has to get done each day. My body in balance. I feel like I'm a better role model for my wife, kids, and patient, especially when I'm exercising and not drinking. I'm more understanding and intolerant husband and a partner to my wife. When I'm eating right, I'm helping everyone else in my family eat properly. How does freedom in my body have on your business domain? Heck, just the fact that I'm still able to work is a good thing as a chiropractor. When I was out for 3 months, that was a significant challenge. Running a practice from afar and having all the the help I had to have.
Yeah,
it sucks. So I like my body now. When my body is healthy, I have more confidence in every area of my life. When my body is on fire, my mind is firing, which leads to better decisions, more commitment, and everything else in life. What other thoughts do you have about the reality of this freedom in your body? My body is the fuel that drives my creativity. My body drives my confidence. It drives all areas of my life. If my body is suffering, all areas of my life are going to suffer as well. So it's kind of where I'm at with body freedom.
All right.
Sure.
I'll roll into the bondage part. I'm about 15 pounds heavier than I like. And I'm not stronger than I was the prior year since I've been lifting heavy. And my allergies are not better than they were. How does it make me feel? Weak, injury prone. My focus, like I say, has just been on maintaining. We've been pinging around between 2 houses, and it's been tough to figure out a balance that works for me with that. How does it impact on my being? I don't feel as strong as on fire, less powerful overall, which impacts, everything else. And with my allergies, makes me feel weak and captive, afraid. On my balance, I don't feel as on fire or as attractive as when I'm cut and lifting heavy. There's just something about being able to deadlift a bunch or bench press a bunch that makes me feel stronger and makes me feel more physically attractive. And impact on balance. Also, when my allergies are messed up, we can't go out and do things together or hang out with other couples in restaurants and things like that. So that's a big deal. Impact on my business domain, feeling less powerful, I think bleeds over into everything else. What are the thoughts around the reality of bondage and my body effects in my life? Alcohol, I think I probably need to cut that down more. I'm more like 5 to 2. I think 6 to 1 is probably better. Allergies, I need to get back into the Gumta program I was doing, and I like to weigh less or just look physically tighter. So that's where I'm at. I need to cut, like I say, 15 pounds or get back to lifting. If I get back to heavy lifting, that'll probably sort itself out. It usually does.
Great share. I'm similar. So my bondage, just lost it here. I have 15 pounds of unnecessary body fat, resulting in a pannus above my belt line. While I have improved flexibility and mobility significantly, I still lack the ability to perform more advanced fitness and sports moves that would be required for things like skiing, right? Using balance board and skiing and surfing, if I ever wanted to take that up. How do I feel? Embarrassed, humiliated, frustrated, hopeless, ashamed, and disappointed. The focus, I am addicted to consuming sweet and savory food without stopping when I've consumed enough to satiate my body. I eat in response to back-to-back meetings and stress associated with doing work I don't want to do at my corporate job. I started accountability in my food journal daily and have been accountable for every day for 2 weeks, and it is starting to work for me. And it has worked for me in the past when I've made myself accountable for what I eat. The impact on the being, eating too many carbs and processed foods impacts my ability to think clearly and analytically, impact on the balance. My son is ashamed of how I look when my shirt is off because I don't have a six pack. If I don't suck in my tummy, he's embarrassed of how I look. I don't know for sure, but my wife might find me less attractive because I'm not lean like I used to be. Impact on business, along with my inability to think clearly and analytically during moments of the day, I struggle to be present in meetings and take the actions needed to get the results done at my job. That is bondage.
All right.
And we're similar, man.
Yeah.
So we always learn in Warrior, right? You're not
Yeah.
alone. We're all in
No.
the same damn boat. No one just wants to talk about it. Bondage, looking at the fruit in my body domain, I'm overweight as well. I'm on a game of let's lose another 45 pounds, get back where I want to be. I wish it was only 15. You guys, I could handle that, but I got a lot more to lose. I don't have any flexibility whatsoever. That is not something that's been in my game. It's been on my list. I'm going to add it this year. I consume more alcohol than I'd like, even on the 2 days a week I do drink. I'm in bondage also to junk food. This totally screws me on my whole weight loss, healing, and energy. How does this bondage in my body help make me feel? Weak, terrible, lack of self-worth, lack of self-esteem, detached from God, and sexless. What has been your focus in body over the last 12 months? Something I call the Kryptonite 7. I'm in bondage to, salt, butter, chocolate, chips, French fries, and ice cream. Those things, I don't eat them every day, but that's all I try to stay away from just to get to where I want to be. I suck at those areas. Part of the other focus of my body is, I guess this ties to just all areas, but if I'm a loser at the game of my own body, how am I going to help others? My wife, my kids, my patients. I have to take care of myself first before I'm going to be able to take care of anything else. How does bondage affect my being domain? God has given me this body, and like my mind, I'm telling God I don't want to take care of my body. This creates anxiety, it creates pain, it creates discomfort and uncertainty. What impact has bondage had on my balance? No energy, no sex life, no confidence to coach my kids, lack of leadership. What impact has bondage had on my business? My desire to go meet with new clients, if you will, new attorneys, new doctors. When I lack the self-confidence just because of my appearance of, thinking I'm overweight, it just slows me down. So, should we do this last question or no?
Yeah, we can, or we can come back around. Either one. I mean,
we can come back around.
For me, revelations. It's I have to lift. For me, heavyweights is what I'll say. Otherwise, I kind of go to shit physically. That's what I would say. I quit paying attention to stuff. I like the 6-to-1 alcohol Garrett mentioned versus the day. I went from daily to 5 to 2.
That's what I did.
And the other revelations, I don't feel great about myself unless I'm pretty cut physically. Is what I would say. I'm pretty vain, I guess, and when I'm not there, it sort of bleeds over into other stuff overall. So
yeah,
that has to happen for me. And basically lifting is just a keystone habit for me. When that is tight, the nutrition works itself out. Even the drinking works itself out a whole hell of a lot more. But I also just feel better about everything else and more on fire, and it bleeds over into everything. So lifting a lifting sustainable program for me is keystone. That's the revelation.
That's great. Revelation. So improved flexibility at my age of 50 can improve more. It is improving. If all conditions are ideal for me, I want to live to be 99 like my grandfather did. But on that journey, I don't have to let my body become inflexible, weak, and lacking vitality. I can improve my flexibility and mobility continually. There's a book called Younger Next Year, which really kind of inspired me with this train of thought. Second revelation, the accountability in my nutrition journal will help me become more mindful of my eating intake. And I've resolved to the fact that I must just write down everything I eat every day. That's what helps me control and be mindful of what I'm doing and what I'm putting into my body.
Nice. For me, the number one revelation after that I didn't really realize was my body is the fuel to my habits across the board. Yeah, I can be, if I miss that, it takes everything else down with it throughout the day. Not only do I need to exercise, number two was not only do I need to exercise, I need to stop the bondage of a terrible diet, bad habits, and loving the kryptonite 7 foods. And then just below that, I wrote, continue walking every day, drink greens drink 2 times a day instead of once a day. Also start consuming 1 shake a day just to replace another meal, or in the afternoon when lots of people just keep telling me have that shake in the afternoon. I won't crave the sugars. It's amazing. I'm like an ant. I mean, I'll have sugar removed out of everywhere, and I just go in. So I'll find it at the doctor's office next door. What do you guys got on the counter here? I just go say hi just to steal a piece of fucking candy. And just so addiction to the bad foods and me having to take care of this body is a key part. It's really been this whole morning. That's been my golden gem. There's a couple other things on other notes that I could share, but I like it. I don't know where we're at time-wise.
Yeah, good share.
I don't know either. We probably have extra time because there's only 3.
Yeah, we got 3 minutes.
3 minutes.
I was gonna say I love sugar. It's like the best thing ever for me. At one of our houses, because we commute, like I said, the kids aren't we're empty nesters, but like they don't hang out at this house, and we have fucking no sweets in the house. I mean, it's like a bare ass pantry, which actually works because when I get craving, there's literally nothing here except like a protein shake and protein bars. Which the least healthy thing I have is I think some protein bars that have like 200 calories in them. I mean, so when I'm here, it makes it pretty easy to stay fairly close to the diet. Now, my other house is where the kids come crash and all that, and that is a different story. But just not having it at all makes it tough. I mean, if I want ice cream, I got to get in the car, drive somewhere, go eat it, and drive back.
Yeah.
For ice cream, that's where I'm at. But there's other stupid things, I mean, I like you like sweets. I like salt. I like butter. I like butter and bread. I don't just eat a sandwich. It's funny. I don't like sandwiches, but I like bread and butter. Main place to eat are, steak and seafood houses, which always ask you, well, you want butter and bread? And I'm like, no. And then halfway through a meal, like, hey, bring that bread, man. I lost all those. Yeah. But yeah.
Mayonnaise over some fries, so I would not pick at them and eat them anymore.
Okay. Oh, well, we got a long couple days ahead of us.
Yeah. I have an empty rental house, Shane. I'm thinking maybe I should just go work there for a couple of days. There's no food in this thing at all. Just water.
I mean, I like the one house we have some stuff, but it's like 60% furnished is what I would say. It's got none of the, we thought we were going to spend more time here, but the kids and my wife broke her ankle right when we moved up.
Oh.
So we went to the house. It's got, none of those devices, now it's plenty of opportunity to work is what I would say.
Nice. Is it like a lake house?
No, I mean, I've got an office in Atlanta and an office in Charlotte, and I moved to Charlotte, which is near where the kids are. So it's essentially that kind of house kind of deal.
Yeah.
And we just haven't fully staffed, got everything up here yet. And that's why part of my workout game has been sucked because I only just recently committed to having the same shit in both houses to work out and do. So everything.
All right, gentlemen, welcome back. Ladies, welcome back. Everyone got a chance to share. You got a chance to talk through it. If you're my online audience, how many of you right now, this was a powerful experience being able to share and you saw some new insights for yourself? Type in me in the chat so I know you got this. Type in me. We saw the sharing happening here in the room. I know every time I get a chance to talk about it, share about it, this is interesting enough in some of the groups I'm part of right now, this is all really it is. We pay a bunch of money to get in a room so that people can talk about themselves because they don't get a chance to talk about themselves in rooms with people they respect. So most of the time they're leading, most of the time they're doing things. They pay tons of money to be able to sit in a room and talk about themselves. Getting to hear yourself, how many out loud, getting to hear yourself speak this out loud to other people started changing what you were even interpreting when you first typed it in? Type in yes in the chat if that's happened to you. Again, part of the process, right? So it's the talking phase, it's the training phase. All of this is you talking and training yourself. And more, it's all stacking is. If you look at what stacking is, you look at everything we do in Living the Warrior's Way, all of this is about you finding a path and a connection to a trust in you. Can I trust what I am saying? Can I trust what I am writing down? Can I trust what I am trying to uncover? If I can learn to trust this, if I can learn to find this, then the results that I want are not impossible. They're inevitable. I can pursue them with an inevitability, not with some hope, not with some please bless me, not with some I really wish this would work out. Simple. Here's where I am. Here's what's going on. Here's where I'm free. Here's where I'm in bondage. So let's throw this out a little bit. Let's see where we're at. Trevor, where are you at? Got a little microphone for you? Yeah, okay, talk it up. Let's go.
For me, it's very interesting because I find that I've rested so much on the fact that I'm naturally physically fit looking, but I'm actually not very fit. And there's a lot of areas that I'm playing so below the line. But because you can't tell by looking at me, I pretend. And so then I walk around this fake persona, even standing up on stage, like even standing next to you or anybody else, like I'll suck my stomach in because I have this little pooch right here and I'm very embarrassed by it, but I won't do anything about it. And because I can kind of look like I'm buff but it's like filtered into everything. Like it's a common thing that I'm seeing across the board. I look like I'm elite, so I must be, but the reality is I'm pushing it like 1% of what I could do. Like there's a 99% gap between what potential and what I'm sitting at because I'm believing bullshit, not living by the code. I'm lying my ass off every day when I look in the mirror, like every day.
How many of you can relate to that? Raise your hand. How many can relate to that in the chat? Type in me in the chat if you can do that. Where you're like, kind of bullshitting myself here. Had this happening like last year. It was about this time and all my custom clothing was starting to fit tight. And I was like having this moment. I was like, these fucking pants have ruined. I don't know what happened to these pants. Fucking tailors are bullshit. Somehow these pants get skinnier over time. What's happening? I remember having these distinct thought ones that I was like, I'm gonna call up my tailor. I'm gonna fix all these fucking pants. I'm tired of this bullshit. Then I looked at myself. I was like, self, you're a fucking piece of shit liar. If you go here, there's no going back. You are calling to ask your tailor to let out the waist of your pants. This is a slippery slope, motherfucker. Don't do it. So I did. Lost 12 pounds, did a bunch of things, and all of a sudden, magically enough, guess what? All my pants fit again. Oh, magical, right? Standards. So there's a piece in this that we slowly drift on constantly. Now, what does your body get to be for you? Well, your body gets to be whatever you choose to be, and we're going to move into that next stage. But right now, it's getting honest about where it is, what it is. Okay, let's take a couple from our online. Let's bring Seth Humphreys in, and let's bring in Morgan Mead. Seth Humphrey and Morgan Mead. Morgan shaking his head. He's like, damn it! Should turn my camera off. Well, he's calling on me. All right, so give it to me, Seth. What are you seeing here in this process of body?
For me, I see that I've done really well. I told myself I would be at 200 when I stepped into 2023. I'm at 199. I sedated a lot before I joined Warrior with marijuana. I'm high strung. I've got a lot on my plate. And so I would tell myself stories that I need to smoke a bowl when I wake up in the morning, or I need to have an edible to go to bed or whatever. And so I've eliminated the edibles altogether. And I've slowly started to, I've made rules with myself saying, I will not wake up and go. I will wake up and tap in and listen to what God has to say and get in the stack and do the things that you're coaching us to do right now. So, strong leader on another level. And my wife is a very powerful lady like your wife. And so like I can handle her on another level because I'm handling myself on another level. So right now my loop it was always the weekend. I would do really well during the week. And then the weekend, like Crazy Seth would tap in, and Crazy Seth goes, you can eat whatever. And I'd have one thing. I have pizza or something like that. And then I have all the things. And then Monday start and make it harder and harder and harder. I've dropped that all in, all out mindset. And it's just like, this is what it is. I don't have to be hard. Like the 75 hard I like 75 hard's great for this. But when it comes to like challenges, what I've seen is I get over that, complete it, and then go right back to your old ways. And now it's like, I just need to do what I do. If I want it, I'll have it, and I'll get right back to work.
Two clap. Boom. Online, give them a what the fuck is a two clap online. Just give them fuck. Just put the word fuck in the chat. That'll be our two clap. Just fuck. So see all that, Seth? All that fuck is for you. A lot of fuck for Seth. All right, beautiful. All right, so we made some pivots. Some of you guys wake and bake. I get it. Here's the thing I want you to consider, it's being in the truth. Being in the truth is the most exciting place ever to be. Because being in the truth, you get to come to terms with the feelings around being in the truth. And there's a lot of judgment we have about being in the truth, and that's why we don't speak the truth, because we have judgment about being in the truth. We're like, oh, this shouldn't be my truth. Well, it is your truth. What if you could just own this is my truth? This is where I'm at. This is what I want. This is where I'm sitting. This is where I'm at. The end. And we just play from that place. Here's where I'm at. Here's some feelings I have. Might feel guilt, might feel shame. But I'm put those over here. And I'm just going to be honest about where I'm at. Beautiful, Seth. Great share. All right, let's go. Go ahead and drop Seth down for my camera. Give me Morgan. Morgan, what do you got for me, man? Share it up.
All right, so 2022, not a lot to be proud of in the body aspect of things. Going through this, it's and what some of the things you talked about this morning, it's kind of woken me up. And one of the biggest things you said was being unfuckable. And that's the big thing. I'm sure that's probably it's really holding me back.
Pause real quick. How many of you right now know at some level you are unfuckable? Type it in the chat. Just own this shit. Say unfuckable. Just type it in there. Type it. You don't even have to know how to spell it right. Just guess. Throw that shit in the chat. Unfuckable. 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 It's all over. So you're not alone, Morgan. Here's the crazy part. Unfuckable doesn't even come down to, by the way, a body looking a certain way. There's an energy and attitude that comes around with that. And it's how you feel in your body. It's not a certain look. I got guys who are super, super skinny. I got guys that are super, super overweight. I got guys that are in the middle. I got guys that you should say, dude, you're actually pretty fuckable. And they don't feel that way. So there's a piece in this that's beyond just what the body is. It's what you feel about what your body is and where it's at. There are women all the time with my wife that we're friends with, super beautiful, and these women are the most self-conscious women I've ever met in my entire world. Boob jobs, facelift, Botox, etc. They look fucking great. They look beautiful. Not in their minds. Not they don't look that way. In their minds, they're ugly. They're disgusting. They're grotesque. They haven't pulled out. They got this one piece of skin that like does this one thing over here. Sometimes when they twist three ways this direction, it does it. And then I can't be with a man. What's going on with me right here? I'm like, oh my Lord, we got some things to work on right here. In your brain. You look fine. Go. Do your thing. Do what you're going to do. So what else are you getting, Morgan? What else are you seeing?
So when I sleep, I sound like a fucking trash truck. So that's another thing that's making me unfuckable. So my wife doesn't even sleep in the same bed as me right now. So that's another thing that definitely needs to be addressed. And I've got to figure out why. Is it because of my weight, or is there something else going on that's causing me to snore that way?
I feel you, man. I feel you. Legit. My wife ninja kicks me, bro. Ninja kicks. I even got this little buzz watch because she doesn't like my alarm because I wake her up. And then she says I snore, I breathe too deep. So then she like said a few nights ago, she was yelling at me like, kick, kick, kick. You're doing blah, blah, getting fired up in the middle of the night. And I was like, the hell? It's like, all right, possibly. So I'm laying there. I'm looking at my watch. I got like 20 minutes. I'm just laying there. She kicks me 3 more times. You're snoring. I was like, all right, bitch, this is now in your head. This is not real. You're making this shit up. It's not even real. You're dreaming it. I've been laying here awake the whole time and it snored it off. So I understand the desire to go to another bed. I get it. She was dreaming. I must have trained tracked her a whole bunch of my dreams of my snoring because somehow she picked that up and now it's like this nightmare she has. Oh my God, he's snoring. Kick. I'm like, I even put up body pillows. I've tried it. I built a whole pillow wall. build a huge castle. Now I just need to build a fucking wall to the top of the ceiling or just sleep in a guest room. And here's the fun part. We get to look at Morgan like, hey, you know what? I'm snoring a lot. I don't know if I want to snore. I don't know if that's a body situation, etc. But if you're snoring tonight and you're sleeping in a different room, it doesn't necessarily affect your sex life. It could. I know plenty of people sleep in the same bed, don't have a lot of sex.
Oh yeah,
I know people
it
who
affects
sleep
our
in different
sex life.
rooms. Yeah, I know people that sleep in different rooms that have fucking most amazing sex lives ever. They've been married for a long time. So what else are you seeing here with body?
I got a lot of work to do. That's it. Diet shit. And the funny thing is, I know what I should be doing. I should. I know what I should be doing. I know what I should be eating and not eating, but I don't do the right things. And that'll be the focus this year. I think the body is the main thing that if I feel good on my body, everything else is going to fall into line.
What you just said couldn't be more true.
Just because of
Same
confidence.
way. Yep. And the same way. How many felt the same way about yourself? Raise your hand. How many in the chat feel the same way that Morgan's talking about your body? Type in hell yes in the chat if that's you. Like you like, look good, feel good, play good. You're like, man, I feel good in my body, feel good in my clothes. But whatever that looks like, it's so different for everybody. But whatever it feels like for you and looks like for you, when you're in that place, you go, you feel it. So as we sit in the body, it's why we start here as a conversation, because it's one of the easiest to manage. And the fact that if you want to change your body, it's science. That's it. It's not even, there's nothing lucky about it. Like, it's a science. Eat less, burn more calories, lose weight. Lift weights with resistance and tension, build muscle. Like, do cardio, heart gets stronger. Like, these are not, like, they're not even debatable. It's not even like, does it work? So if you don't have a result that you want, it's because you won't do what's required. The end. Women look at my wife and they're like, oh, you're just this, you're just that. I'm like, bitch, you have no idea. She don't stop at the In-N-Out burger every day. She's not drinking 1,500 calorie Starbucks every morning. Like, you keep doing all this shit and act like somehow you were carrying an extra 40 pounds by accident. You're carrying it on purpose. You just don't even know, and you want to project your shit onto my wife about the fact that she will do what is required and you will not. I am doing what is required in comparison to what I was doing, so it's not lucky. You can do the same thing, Morgan, and the fun part is the choosing that change is very scientific. So all we're really looking for between today and tomorrow is we're looking for a decision to go. Not even a decision of what needs to be done, just a decision of I'm going. And it's not debatable. It's not if I'm going to go, I'm going. If I'm going to put 20 pounds of muscle on, I'm not talking about it anymore. It's not lucky. Don't need to watch any more YouTube videos or watch any more TikTok reels. I just have to go to the fucking gym and train and eat like a motherfucker. That's it. Do those things, son. Guess what? You're 220 pounds and you're fucking giant Hercules. And you're doing it. Not rocket science. All of you, it's the same thing. Your body is what you want it to be. Period. But that starts with being honest. And Morgan, that was incredible. Thank you very much for being honest, brother. I appreciate you. We're going to give you 2 clap in the room. 2 clap! Boom! Beautiful. Go ahead and kill the camera. Morgan's camera online. Give him, you know what you need to give him. What's our 2 clap? Give it to him. Come on. You know, I already trained you once. You guys got it. There you go. There's a bunch of fucks for Morgan. Morgan, appreciate it. Bunch of fucks for you up in here. This is great. Now, we're going to take a little break. We're going to go to a little lunch, which means between now and 2 o'clock Pacific, you can do whatever you'd like. If you want to go eat, take a nap, go to a meditation, go for a walk around your house, do whatever you're going to do. Here, our teams are going to go eat some tacos. Out on the deck, they're going to have a talk. They're going to connect their demand, and then we're going to come back here at 2 o'clock. We're going to get started. We're going to go from 2 o'clock until 6 o'clock. I promise you got time to get this done. For now, if you want to move forward in your maps, you can. If you want to tighten up your body, you can inside of that. If you want to go down forward and start going into being, to balance, and business, start working on your notes during lunch, you're more than welcome to do that. If you want to take a nap for the entire hour, that's fantastic too. You're a grown human being. You're an adult. You can do whatever you want from now until the next hour. So we got a 1 hour break. We're going to put some music on here inside of the cage in case you come in. If you like to sit here and work, great, whatever. Here in the room, we're going to go eat tacos, and then we'll see you back here in 1 hour. If you're clear about what's happening in the next hour, type in clear in the chat so I know you're clear. Type in clear in the chat so I know you're clear. Type in clear so I know you're clear. And beautiful. That brings us to a wrap. Hey, for here in the room, you guys got tacos. And Sammy, I need some tacos down in the podcast studio. Okay? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm handing the class over to you. Trevor, Jeff, you're in charge. I got calls. Peace out.